in a world of remakes and remasters.
Are we playing for
What was once sacred and cool has now soured and become lame. Gone are the days of palms and cowabunga. Now is the reign of slurp juice and dabs. Kids these days don't even know how bad they've got it. Now it's up to the best generation to rise to the occasion and make a show that dares to go where a lot of other nerdy shows have already gone quite a bit. That's right. They're going to talk about it a lot. Hello! I forgot to turn on my lights. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the show. I also realized my microphone is really far away, and I'm probably quieter than usual. I'm a bit scatterbrained today because there's so much to cover. Welcome to the show, Best Gen. How's everybody doing?
Doing fantastic.
Good. If you're new to the show is Best Gen. It's where a bunch of nerds complain about nerdy things. It's called Best Gen because we're all from the same gen and happen to think that it's the best, but we're very accepting of all gens. Doesn't matter when you were born, you're welcome to enjoy the show with us, just as long as you could acknowledge that, what's my zinger for today? Playing outside was cool.
With rocks.
You guys remember Outside?
What's that? It's been too long.
Those were the days. It's as a parent now when my 6-year-old wants to play outside, I'm like, you can play in the backyard.
Yep.
It's terrifying. I don't know if the times have just changed that much or if our parents were just on drugs and didn't care. Right? Mom, are you in the chat? Did you care about us at all? Huh? I'm shocked that we're alive.
Yeah, we had a mountain in our backyard. We would just disappear on that thing.
It's littered with cacti.
Yeah, we'd come home with feet and knees and elbows just full of cactus and
builds character.
I was going to say, that's the thing about outside is we usually came back inside with a few more tears and bodily damage.
Yep.
Yeah. How's everybody doing tonight, by the way? We missed last week. I had family stuff to deal with. But I'm super excited to be back. A little bit overwhelmed because this show might be a little bit less organized than previous shows because I have so many freaking tabs open. I don't even know where we're going to start yet.
I'm just impressed that we're going to find some way to be less organized than usual.
I'm pretty good. Usually, I have the show segmented kind of well.
Well, I don't know. You're organized fine, but we just tend to throw some nice wrenches in there.
The discussion. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry if that might have gotten you less excited for the show. The conversation will be equally disorganized as it's always been, but the show. I'm talking about the show progression in order of segments might be a bit confusing tonight.
Yeah, we should rename the show Tangents.
We've got a lot to cover. We've got to talk about Thor, Love and Why are you saying my page is frozen? Oh no, I've got too many tabs open. Chrome's crashing on me.
The stream is still looking buttery smooth on my end. So
No, it's my notes are frozen. My Google Drive apparently. Just wait.
lovely.
Okay, so my show notes just froze. Oh no, because we've got to talk about Thor: Love and Thunder, Thor 4. We've got to talk about Stranger Things 4. We've got to talk about some bad takes. We've got to talk about the Lord of the Rings of Power trailer. And a bunch of trailers that they dropped on San Diego Comic-Con. I'm talking about Dungeons & Dragons, DC's stuff, and Wakanda Forever. Is it this? That feels racist. No, is that the?
That's the thing.
That's not like a dog whistle or anything. It's this,
That's it.
right?
Pretty sure that's it. I think you're good.
No. Oh no. Okay, that's the wrong one. Okay. I genuinely forgot what it was. This, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Corwin is definitely going to be joining us later tonight. He promised. So we're going to start with things he doesn't care about. We're going to talk about Thor, and we're going to talk about Stranger Things. And he made me promise I would not talk about Lord of the Rings. Or sorry, I shouldn't call it Lord of the Rings. We wouldn't talk about Amazon's show that has rings in it without him.
Rings of Power.
Thor finding himself again, he gets lost a lot. Let's talk about Thor, Love and Thunder. I finally watched it. We're reviewing it 2 weeks late. Very timely. I know. Mm-hmm. You're welcome. Let's go. Everybody saw Thor.
Oh, wait, we were supposed to... No, I saw it.
Jared, you told me you liked it. Other Jared, I think you said you liked it. And I don't know David's opinion, but he's a shill, so I'm assuming he liked it. I did not. There are a few parts that I did enjoy. As a whole, really, really did not have a good time in the theater.
Yeah. No, you are correct. I did really like it. I went in there apprehensive. I was afraid that they were going to, completely emasculate Thor. But I figured, hey, if a man's going to be emasculated, you might as well do it across from Natalie Portman because, man. Anyways, but yeah, no, I really liked it. But it's got issues. The humor, I think.
Hold on. Can you pause real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm getting
more freezing
a delay. What's going on?
We lost him.
I was going to say, all right, who's going to take it?
I think it was just on my computer because, like I said, my tabs were crashing.
Fun times.
Are we good?
No, we're not good. Okay. Sorry, I figured it out. Sorry about the technical difficulties. Can you talk again?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Okay. Okay. Fixed it. Yes. So my tab crashed, but I saved it. So nice. Go on. You liked Thor, but you didn't like Thor because you like being emasculated.
Only by Natalie Portman.
Huh?
Yeah, only by Natalie Portman.
You liked being emasculated. Okay.
I really liked a lot of what the film.
You heard it here,
do.
folks. David, 2022. I like being emasculated.
Martina, take note.
She's not watching today.
Are you a sub?
No, but I liked a lot of what they were doing, and a lot of the action sequences were fantastic. Thor wasn't, a complete useless imbecile in the fighting arena. What I didn't like, and I did like a lot of the humor too, but unfortunately there were so many moments of humor that just completely took me out of the film, and story beats that should have been dramatic, and they just throw in a joke. Like the worst part was when Natalie Portman and Thor meet up again.
Uh-huh.
And it's in the middle of this big dramatic battle, and it's right before Gore the God Butcher comes up, and they intercut it with this monologue from Korg about the backstory of Jane Foster, and it just completely
do you guys
throws
remember
out
when
the
we were
tone of that scene.
Do you guys remember when we were talking about the trailer for this movie, and I said I really disliked Korg's monologue, and one of you guys said, "Oh, but that's just for the trailer. That's not going to be in the movie." Suck on my provincial words.
Yeah. Not only was it not just the trailer, but they used it a lot.
It was the entire movie, and it was awful.
Yeah.
I didn't hate every aspect of it, but I don't think that it served the movie well.
I hated the monologuing.
I think it was fine in the beginning and the end, but when they keep interjecting in the middle, especially at that reunion moment, right before the big bad shows up, it completely ruins the tone of that scene. Yeah, the momentum.
Not only does it completely ruin the momentum, it sacrifices the
drama.
It sacrifices the world building to make one-liner jokes.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that Korg the whole time he's calling him a space Viking.
No, that's fine.
He is from space.
Right.
All Asgardians to him would be space Vikings. He wouldn't call them space Vikings. He would call them Vikings. It doesn't make sense.
No,
the only reason
Vikings. No.
The only reason it would make sense is from an Earth perspective. If a human from Earth was narrating the story, he would call him a space Viking because he's Viking from space.
Or if he was talking to people from Earth.
But Korg is not from Earth.
Okay, but he's telling the story. It doesn't matter.
It's silly. And then when you get to the God planet, you see Korg's God, and he's sitting on a throne of scissors because rock, paper, scissors humor is apparently universal across the galaxy and not explicitly to the English language.
You guys didn't like that from Ragnarok.
I hated that joke from Ragnarok. It makes no sense. It's completely world-breaking. For a throwaway gag, it's a little bit funny. You're like, haha, and you're like, wait, what?
Except that I just stopped at the ha.
Yeah.
I think you're being way too critical. I think the joke works across.
I think it's stupid. I think it's just one of the symptoms of the plague of this movie. It just doesn't care.
Yeah.
And
Manfosan here asks, how was Christian Bale? I think Christian Bale was fantastic in the role. He was probably the best part of that movie.
He was really good.
He was barely in it.
Yeah, I didn't even in the moment it didn't bother me as much because it really kept it a story about.
Wait! Pause. The chat's agreeing with me. They should have. Yes, yes. Korg should have been referring to him as an Asgardian, not a space Viking. Okay, go on, Jared.
No, but I agree. Like Christian Bale was great, but I kind of wish he'd been in it a little bit more. Like, I don't know.
How many? Quick question: how many gods did you get to see in Butcher?
1.
0.
You saw him butcher one god, and then there was the results of another butchering.
But that was before he was even called the God Butcher.
That's what got him to be called the God Butcher, or partially. It was the beginning of his God butchering.
Yeah.
You literally see it in a montage on a screen. Oh, he's doing so many bad things.
But that's the thing is you didn't even see a montage of him. Like seeing a montage of him killing gods would have been cool.
You got to see an aftermath. Aftermath. He did the mesh. He did the aftermath. No, you get to see the aftermath of just a couple of it was a couple of corpses, and even then it didn't make sense because it was from the Guardians of the Galaxy's computer, right? They're scanning the universe, and apparently that's what they were doing the whole time. They were scanning the universe, helping people, and then all of the sudden the God Butcher has killed a bunch of why didn't they hear about it before? It's dumb. They only heard about it after after he's killed a bunch of gods.
I see what you're saying.
It makes the Guardians and it makes Thor look completely incompetent and stupid.
But I think that's sort of the. That's a good call though, Manafan.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, MASH was a great show. I never watched After MASH, but I did see MASH. I loved MASH. That was a good show. Anyway, I don't know. To me, that's
just about how they're dealing with PTSD.
PTSD, yeah. But like the idea of the the Guardians and Thor kind of being a little incompetent, that matches with what they do a lot with them. Like the Guardians, like we get to see a couple of times where they are competent, but we usually see even in their movies that they're kind of just bumbling fools. And I mean, as much as I don't love it, they lean into that with Thor in this movie too. People have pointed out, I've heard some arguments about how he's not exactly dumb, but boy, they just really sure like to lean into the dumb humor for him, which I like. I land just the other side of it from you, Alan, where it's like, I had fun. There were a lot of fun moments. I had a lot of fun moments, but in the end, it's like they took Ragnarok and turned it up to 11, and Ragnarok was about as high as I would have wanted them to go with the Thor being a dumb space Viking, all of that, and they just turned it up to an 11 on that. It was too much. I don't know.
While I enjoyed the movie Ragnarok, I didn't appreciate that they were making him look stupid. But it towed the line really well because he also had a bunch of moments of glory, and it was kind of it was still almost like the fish out of water stupid, but it was a little different, right? In this, he's legitimately a moron.
He does have the knowledge that he needs when it comes to like finding where things are at or knowing where to go.
Like take his introductory scene with the Guardians of the Galaxy. He's sitting there with his axe growing into the ground and spreading roots, and they're like a couple yards away from him in the heat of battle. Like I just don't understand. Like why was he sitting there for that long, and then the battle, like how did it progress? That none of it makes sense.
Yeah, I think to me that spoke a lot to an aspect that I don't think they explored as well as they could or should have with we see Gore. Like we start out with Gore and him suffering from this god that just doesn't care about him, right? And him realizing that he placed his faith in this god that was just a selfish and bumbling, fool. And we then cut to, I think it feels like we then cut to and see Thor kind of doing the same thing a little more actively, but like these people ask for his help and he's like, yeah, I'll help. And he's just so like nonchalant about it that he just ends up destroying their sacred temple. And so like, I thought that it could have been interesting for Thor to actually have to go through a journey of realizing, oh, this guy's kind of right. We as gods are a little bit self-centered and haven't been caring about these mortals very well. And they end up showing through the movie that Thor does care about mortals. And that's why Gore ends up deciding to trust him in the end. But they don't have that contrast and going with the fact that he literally did not care about these people at the beginning that he was protecting.
Except that it completely contradicts itself with the point you just made, Jared. Because what was Gore's entire plan? He shows up to Asgard and kidnaps children, takes them to the Shadow Realm because he knows that Thor will come and save them.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Except that his entire MO is I want to kill gods because they're not helpful.
They don't care. Yeah.
So why would they come to rescue the children? Yeah.
So there's things like that I just feel like they didn't.
None of it's. There's no internal consistency. He should have showed up and tried to kill Thor and taken his hammer.
That was his first intention. It was his backup plan to steal the kids. But I did enjoy and the stuff with Jane. What they had of that was good. Like the fact that she was struggling with the cancer but it felt very surface level too. It was just so. I don't know. I know that it's not always making a movie longer will make it better, but I felt like this movie didn't have enough time to do everything it wanted to do, and so it just kind of and we're gonna be done, and we'll make some jokes along the way.
No, sorry. I forgot what I was gonna say, but I do agree with you. But I don't know. I think they did the cancer topic justice because, it was obviously Jane's. She didn't want to confront that, so that was obviously her way of deflecting and denying the reality of her situation is to go and fight and to laugh and to have fun and whatever. But I don't know. I think they hit that, relatively well, especially with her conversation with Thor on the boat. I don't know. I thought that was.
I
really
feel like
well.
all the pieces were there, but I still feel like I was missing a little bit of to it.
Sure.
I didn't mind the cancer, but the way that it was woven into the plot contradicted itself completely. I didn't, but the story arc that they wanted to go through, I thought was fine. But she goes to Asgard, hoping that Mjolnir will save her, or hoping that Asgardian magic will cure her cancer.
Right.
And Mjolnir attaches to her because Thor gave it a command saying protect her. So it turns her into a Thor. I hate that they keep calling her a Thor. A Thor isn't a thing.
Yes, it is.
Thor is his name.
What? No. What does it say on the hammer? What is engraved on the hammer?
Who wields it will wield the power of Thor.
Right.
It doesn't mean that you become a Thor. It's just like
no, it does.
I didn't mind that.
There's been lots of people through the comics that have held Mjolnir and have become Thor. In fact, it's something you brought up before, how people kept calling her the Mighty Thor, and it's like, oh, Thor is just regular Thor, and she's the Mighty Thor. That's a misconception. The name of the comic run was called the Mighty Thor, and Thor was the Mighty Thor in that run. Jane picked up the hammer, became Jane Foster Thor, and also there's another cyborg dinosaur alien dude called Beta Ray Bill, and he was the Mighty Thor for a little bit too. It's the same thing with Spider-Man. You have Amazing Spider-Man, the Spectacular Spider-Man, and then Ultimate Spider-Man, where Peter Parker dies and Miles Morales becomes Spider-Man. Okay, so Thor is a title, and yes, it is his name.
It's a little silly,
but it's a title.
Okay, but the point I was trying to make is she becomes a Thor because Mjolnir is trying to protect her, but then later in the movie, it turns out that anytime she uses the power, it's killing her faster. So why it doesn't make sense?
So what
should have happened is she should have done her science and put the hammer back together and then gotten powers.
Yeah.
And that could have helped her stave off the cancer, but it's not enough.
I agree. The way it comes together in the film doesn't quite make sense, but
it contradicts. It's not that it doesn't make sense. No. It completely contradicts itself.
That's a way of saying it.
So what happens with? I think you're misunderstanding what happens when she transforms into Thor. When that happens, it purges all toxins from her body, including the chemotherapy that's saving her life. So it gives her strength, transforming her, and gets rid of her sickness. When she's Thor, she doesn't have the cancer. But then when she transforms back, all that chemotherapy is gone. It's purged from her system.
Well, then,
so her body,
by that same logic, the cancer should also be gone then.
Actually, I do agree with that.
That doesn't make any sense.
It's not a toxin.
That's so dumb.
Oh, toxins, yeah. Okay.
It's not a toxin. So it differentiates between a toxin and a.
I'm just saying that's how it works in the comics. It purges the chemotherapy from her system. So while she's not holding it, she's weaker. But she's holding the hammer. She's completely fine, cancer free.
To Alan's point, I think that the movie does not do a good job of presenting, actually getting through that, because it just shows
even if
she has cancer,
if it's true, though,
she gets the hammer.
The hammer is
and
not
she can be cool with the hammer, but anytime she's not Thorified, she's really, really sick, and that's all that it does.
Yeah.
They don't.
Yes, and I do agree that it doesn't make any sense how she got those powers from Mjolnir. How it just magically.
It also just makes her
back
character
together
less interesting because she was an interesting scientist. They should have used her science to do it.
I like
that. Would have been a good idea.
Point. I agree. Yeah.
It completely undermines her character that she's just gifted this power because she's awesome. Or
you're right. She should have been like, oh, nobody can move this. Oh, there's an magnetic field.
I will admit,
it's broken. So if we fix this, then it'll that
would have been great. I will admit though, and this is one of the very, very few rare occasions where I was wrong.
What?
I'm not going to say it again.
No. I was wrong before, and you made me say it again. What'd you say?
I said this is a rare occasion where I'm not going to repeat myself. I did appreciate that that movie did not replace Thor with female Thor.
Right.
And I liked that they committed to her, spoilers, dying at the end. I liked that. In fact, the ending of this movie was probably the only thing that I did like. I liked the fatherhood aspect. Maybe it's just because I'm an old guy and I'm a father now, but I liked the idea of and maybe it's just because the next movie they won't be able to have Thor finding himself again, that it's finally over. But I liked that there was some resolution and that fatherhood was the answer, because I agree. I think that is the most fulfilling thing that you can do, regardless of superpowers, in your life, is fatherhood. So I liked the ending. I didn't like that it came out of nowhere and there was no previous connection to this girl. If they had somehow had some kind of thing going on throughout the movie and he has to choose to save her instead of Natalie Portman, I think that would have been much better.
Yeah, agreed. I think the wish did come out of nowhere.
Yeah, so
even a connection to Gore beforehand.
A wish? Oh my gosh! Just the idea of a wish existing is so freaking stupid. Why didn't they go get a wish to fix the Thanos problem?
Why didn't Thanos go find that to make the wish? Or why has no other god ever tried to make that wish before?
In fact, I think
the first person to ever make it to eternity that needs. I don't know.
And so I think I could be wrong about this, but in the comics, I think eternity is one of the gods, and then infinity is another god, and infinity stones that's how you get infinity stones or something. But I could be completely wrong about that.
So
I know that there's some of those cosmic entities.
They're his kidney stones. Is that what it is?
His kidney stones, yeah.
Infinity.
If you collect them all, I'll give you a wish.
But I don't know. Have we heard from Jared, from other Jared, from original Jared?
I think we need to go with Jared 1 and Jared 2 is dumb. I think we're gonna go with Jared Prime and a Shadow Jared or something.
Ooh,
I like Prime. Yeah, I like.
I do have the evil goatee going on. So.
Yeah.
Or NECA isn't NECA Jared? Isn't that a thing in video games?
I don't know.
So here are my thoughts. So first off, they do explain the chemo thing. So when Thor is there,
Hey, Corwin.
the doctor actually is talking to Thor and says, "Hey, we're trying to do the chemo, but the chemo's not working." Right? And so that's when he's like, "Oh shoot! Okay, the hammer thing, like David was talking about, the hammer is." Reversing the effects
sucking it up. Sure.
I missed a little bit of that then, I guess.
Yeah.
And so that's when it shows him have that realization, and that's when he goes and talks to her and says, "Hey, look, I need you to promise that no matter what happens, you're not going to do Thor anymore. You're going to choose to live and let the chemo work, because the chemo can work. You just have to let it work."
Okay.
But it wasn't working, and so that's why she chose to do it anyways, I think, right? Because she'd been doing chemo before, but.
I got you.
It was just a really silly, hollow movie, and I was in a packed theater. No one laughed. There wasn't a single time where anyone in the audience laughed. The only time, there was one moment in the film where I chuckled. I went, "Huh," and then immediately took it back. Was when the goats crashed into the planet because I thought that they died. And I was like, finally. And then they were still alive. But honestly, in a packed theater, packed theater, no one was laughing.
Yeah, there wasn't.
And half of the marketing for this movie were like, "Hey, don't expect it to be perfect. It's a comedy. Just go in and have fun." Comedies are supposed to be funny.
Yeah.
It's a real shame, because I really do like a lot of Taika Waititi's work, but this movie was just a complete disaster.
Did you have some more stuff, Jared? Yeah.
Yeah. So what it sounds like, Alan, is that you just weren't watching it with the right crowd. You just needed to
It
watch
was
it with
packed.
crowd.
It was a
No,
packed
I
theater.
liked it. And I was laughing.
Yeah.
I found, maybe it's just my humor. I don't know, but I found the screaming goats hilarious. I found
Really?
the,
You found
all
the
those little-
screaming goats from the internet 10 years ago funny?
Well, maybe that's why, because I'm ancient, right? And so I'm
That
like,
was
hey,
the right
they're
time,
paying homage
It
to
wasn't
my
funny
goats.
then, though, either. Goats scream. Ha ha. It's is it even a joke? It doesn't
But-
qualify. I don't get it.
I will agree that I think there were some story plots.
Pink Marvel! Whoa! Corwin, you could be a
Devil in
screenwriter. That's the extent of the joke. It was
Thanks,
I
so
find
Corwin.
this
annoying.
hilarious. It is saved. It is saved. I use this to make fun of people all the time.
Okay, but
Now you just replace it with the Thor goats.
I'll be like, I just send that to them. Just hold up, one more time. Hey, come
good work.
on!
Yes,
Look at that face.
it was so the goats in the movie were so annoying.
Yeah.
I was so happy when I thought
They went
I
to the
agree
well
that-
one too many times for me with that and the jealous hammer thing. I think they went to the well
oh my
a
God.
little too much for me
the
on that.
love triangle between Mjolnir and
I
Stormbreaker
thought
and
that was
Thor
That
funny.
was
I thought
so
it was
good.
retarded.
Concept, I liked
I
it. I was
loved
fine
it.
with it as a concept, but they kind of leaned on it a little too
Oh.
hard. I don't know.
Yeah. I
Yeah, you
agree.
guys need to learn to laugh. That's what needs to happen, I guess.
Agree.
No,
Agree,
I
bro.
know.
You need to lighten up.
but I liked it. I laughed, but I will agree there were some things that like the story wise it wasn't flawless for sure. Like there was some motives that were lacking as far as the God Destroyer and things like that. I liked at the end though that they really tried to turn it into like Thor's search for love, right? Like he's just trying to find this love in his life, and then ends up having to give that away.
He ends up
Right,
finding
yeah.
thunder instead.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, he's thunder, she's love.
Yeah, so I mean that part I liked how they kind of I just like love, guys. So maybe that's ooh, love. They turned it towards love. I don't know,
Okay.
but
Well, it's clear that Jared Prime has the poo brain because he's engaged and can't think about anything else. But
that's
the
probably
movie was
very true.
garbage.
Hey, but here's the thing too. I have got into so many movies and I have analyzed the crap out of so many movies that maybe just at this point I just try to enjoy the movie, because there are so many things that you can analyze with every movie. Every movie there are things to analyze and to critique and to attack. And I find that like half the time I just get more out of it when I go and I try to enjoy it, so
Okay, so the positives, I will say the visuals in the Dark Planet were cool.
yeah,
I thought it was visually stunning. I didn't really like the choreography, the action. It kept cutting way too much, and you couldn't really focus on anything, in my opinion. Some people, David said he liked it, whatever. But I will say the visuals in that scene were good. But I think that was the only part of the movie that I liked. Like, and the most insulting part of the whole thing was the God Planet. Russell Crowe's character. First off, his accent is
that was
horrible. He's horrible. And then
Yeah.
and then 2 days after the release of the movie, they released an article saying we shot all of his scenes twice with 2 different accents, and they went with the one in the movie. Because he's like, they wanted it to. Apparently, it was a Greek accent. No, it was not,
No.
and he was a complete joke. And the nudity in that scene was unnecessary.
Yeah.
How many times did they say the word orgy? It was gross. My kid is not going to watch this movie. I can't show it to him.
Yep. Coming out of that one. Mommy, what's an orgy?
And this should be the one that I would want to take my son to because of the ending. Like, this is the movie I should be able to take my son to, and I can't.
So do you get Thor's penis?
No, you get his butt.
No, you get his butt.
Oh,
And that's
Like-
why
like-
I was watching it, to be honest.
top to bottom.
I was hoping you guys would be like, yeah, you get to see it in all its glory.
And
I will say though, as much as
The
it's not
ding,
family
ding.
friendly, as much as it's not family friendly, that Zeus is talking about an orgy, that is completely consistent with
Yeah,
Zeus
they
as
didn't
a
have to
character
say
from
it
mythology.
8 times though,
Yeah,
right?
No, that is
you
true.
You don't have to bring it up in a Marvel movie. It's like these
Yeah.
are for
Right.
kids, guys.
You're right.
He could have just interchanged it with party. He said, "We're gonna have a party, and you're gonna be there, right? We're gonna have lots of women, or
Yeah.
whatever."
Would've
You know,
been
Then
funny.
the adults know that it's an orgy,
exactly.
and you can still take your kid to see the movie.
Yeah, they could even throw in like clothing
But the-
optional, or,
the
or
worst, the
togas
worst part,
optional, or
though,
whatever. You know,
is that in the end credits scene, you get back to Zeus, who's alive somehow.
Somehow,
Just killing him. It was just
somehow Zeus
so
survived.
stupid. So Zeus is alive, and
Yeah, that was-
the first thing he says, when did we become the joke? When did the gods have become a joke? We need to fix this because we are not the jokes. And I'm like, this movie, Taika Waititi made you a joke, so be mad at him, not at Thor. I'm like, are you kidding? You have the audacity to say that in your end credit scene when you made them the joke?
He did kill Korg, which is Taika Waititi. So, or also killed him.
I really did not have a good time.
Yeah.
I still was able to enjoy it, and I
Same.
even though the humor wasn't not every aspect of it really hit great for me. There were stuff that I was like, okay, I get it, haha. But then there was also like, yeah, okay, I had fun with it.
So
Yeah,
this
There was
is
yeah.
issues. It didn't.
so
hit depth, but yeah.
Christian Bale's performance was good some of the time, and then half of the movie it felt like he was playing a different character. But this is what Gore is
loved it.
supposed to look like, which I think is much more intimidating than just
no.
they just
no.
painted him gray.
I'm so glad they changed his appearance. People are complaining about it. He looks like an anorexic Twilight Voldemort.
Okay,
in the comics.
but
do
in
not
the
like his
movie
look in
he
the
just
comics.
looked like a human, not a god butcher.
Yeah.
Well, what does a god butcher look like?
This,
I mean, it's just some different alien, and always got all these different aliens. I agree. So as cool as much as I actually think that the look in the comics looks good, I agree that in live action he would have, because people they said a lot of the reason they didn't do that is because they thought he would just look like Voldemort, and in particular with Christian Bale as the actor that he is, the less covering up of his face with prosthetics you could do, or even with CGI you can do, probably the better. So
but
I was totally fine with it. I get it. The comic looks cool, but I think he was fine. In the movie.
the fact that they got Christian Bale and barely used him was
They did
huge
not
mistake.
use him nearly as much as they should have, though. Yeah.
And it like I think he said there are like 8 hours of footage on the cutting room floor because they were just screwing around on set all day. And they
Sounds
said
about
we
right.
would spend all day filming, and then I'd go and look at it and said, "Oh yeah, this doesn't really work for the movie." like
Wow.
the direction of this film, it was completely rudderless.
Yeah.
Like here's the thing: Taika Waititi can make a good movie if I can't believe I'm saying this, with studio interference. He's the
That's
one
honestly-
exception
what-
of a
that's what
director
Marvel is.
that's better when he has restrictions.
Honestly,
Because-
all of the
because-
Marvel films have had that level of studio interference, and studio interference from Marvel generally is pretty successful. Generally,
Ant-Man. Okay,
I had fun with
okay.
that, man. I like
Okay,
that.
we're about to fight. Okay, we are about to fight because Edgar Wright is my favorite director of all time, and they ruined Ant-Man.
I do know
Yeah.
that's why Edgar Wright
I like
stepped
it.
away, and yeah. So
I still had fun with Ant-Man, but knowing what could have been and what I've heard from Edgar Wright's version, it
You
would
can
have been
literally
so much better.
See the seams in Ant-Man. I can tell you that scene was written by Edgar Wright. That scene was not. Nope. Yes. No. Like it's day and night. Like, oh, this is enjoyable. It's Edgar Wright. This sucks. It's not. It's.
yeah,
But okay, we've talked about Thor for too long.
as we do.
So I'm waiting for Disney Plus Thor to come out. Got it.
We all thought it was mostly enjoyable, except for my.
I'm not.
hateful brother.
I'm kind of getting over the whole superhero trope. I'm kind of done with it. Like it's
There are a lot of them now.
I
it's
get you.
like every super. It's just since the past 10 years. It's just been superhero movie after superhero movie after superhero movie, and I'm kind of done with it. It's becoming like I'm just kind of done with it. So, like Batman, I'm more of a DC guy than a Marvel guy.
Mhm.
Batman is my favorite superhero since I could walk. I mean, my mom has pictures of me at 2-3 years old wearing Batman stuff. I've always loved Batman. I haven't even seen the new movie. I haven't even seen the new Batman movie because I was just like, I don't care.
That was a good one. That was a really good one. I like that.
Agreed.
So
I totally
Well,
get that before.
Yeah.
Well, if
I'm
you want,
superheroed out. I'm superheroed out. Like I went and see Maverick, Top Gun Maverick. I thought that was one of the best movies I've seen.
okay,
I went and watched it again this week. It was so good.
It is
so good. 10 minutes in, and I'm just like, oh, I'm getting all the feels. It's so good.
it is, and what's crazy, it is still making more money than
It is.
Thor.
Yes.
Really?
Thor had the biggest week 2 drop of any Marvel movie
All Marvel
ever.
movies. I just read
And-
an article about that today.
And Top Gun 2 is still making it's been out for like 2 months now. It's still making more money than Thor is right now.
Wow.
Thor
That's
beat
incredible.
it week 1 because the only people who still care about Marvel went to go see it the
Yeah.
first week, and then it was done. I saw it the
I'm
second week.
just done with superhero movies.
Second.
I'm just kind of done with it. I think they need to if they were smart, they'd take a break. Take a break for a couple of years
Yeah.
and move on to a few other
Yeah.
projects. Like, hey, we have a superhero.
Well,
But it just seems like every year it is 2 or 3 superhero movies, and it's old at this point. It's just
Yeah.
old.
yeah,
A couple of other
the-
non-superhero movies that I saw this last little bit. Black Phone was really pretty good. Scary movie.
Oh, that one
Um,
that's Ethan Hawke, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
That one
So-
looks interesting.
If you liked Sinister, you'll probably like this one. It's not a perfect movie. But I think it's really good and it's a very scary movie. It's a great horror movie. I had fun with Where the Crawdads Sing, but I've been hearing people have been hating that one, even like critics and everything. But yeah, the people that seem like they should have liked it have been hating it. So yeah,
Interesting.
but I had fun with it.
I don't know anything about the book, so
Neither do I. But I could definitely see an issue with the story that it's telling and some of the ways that it decides to figure
Right.
things. But I still thought it was a well-told story, a well-made movie. I thought. But
I just know Crawdads
non-superhero, so I figured I'd toss those out there.
boil them alive. So
Yeah, right.
the
If
crawdads
there's-
sing.
if
The
there's
crawdads.
no
The
boiling
crawdads sing when you kill them.
if there's no boiling them alive in the movie, I'm not
Yeah.
a fan.
I'm pretty sure that's not singing. I'm pretty sure that's screaming. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I was going to say
Hey,
the
we'll
other
say-
problem with the Marvel Phase 4, whatever it is that they're doing now, is it
Yeah, they
seems
just
kind of
announced
a little bit directionless.
A little bit.
A lot of it directionless.
It feels
I mean,
very
they have,
scattered.
Season 8 move over.
yeah, exactly. I mean, they've already done all of their super major hitter superheroes, and now
now they're trying to replace them with extremely less interesting heroes,
yeah,
and it's not working. The
and-
problem is,
and
Corbin,
the
I completely agree with
line
you.
is not
People
connected.
are washed up on the superhero genre, but it wouldn't be a problem if the movies that we were getting were good.
We're good.
The
Yeah.
problem is most of them are average or bad, and so people are just like, well, I don't care about this at all anymore. If they were still
Yeah.
pumping out Iron Man 1, of the first Avengers quality movies, I don't think we would be feeling the burnout at all.
Agreed.
I agree with you. Yep.
But if you
Also,
want,
I also just feel like they did such a good job with Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oof,
Is that how
yeah,
people feel
yeah.
about it? That a lot of these other movies, they have just been patterning off of Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, take Thor Ragnarok, for example. And I like Jacob Ironside's comment. He said, for me, Thor's become so comical. I want a Thor movie like Northman.
Yeah.
Thor has always been the nitty gritty. I'm one of the few people that liked The Dark World. I actually did like that.
that one too.
yes, I
didn't hate it
recently
as much as
I
those two.
recently rewatched it with Elliot, and I loved it.
Yeah,
I was like, I didn't like this movie when it first came out. This is,
Yeah.
and maybe it's just because we've been exposed to schlock for so long now that I was like, it was refreshing. But it actually it does some cool Norse mythology stuff.
Yep.
And I mean, I think the ending leaves something to be desired, but it was a good movie.
And don't get me wrong, so going off of the Thor thing, like Ragnarok was good. I liked Ragnarok. I liked where it went. It was my least favorite Thor movie, but I did very much enjoy it. And now reading what I've read of Love and Thunder, then hearing you guys talk,
You won't
about
like it.
10, 15, 20.
It's Ragnarok turned up to an 11.
Right, and I'm with Ironside on this one. I'm done. And if you go back and look, it's like all these movies they're trying to pattern after Guardians of the Galaxy, even when it comes to like pulling the 70s and 80s rock songs and just kind of retro feel, which I do like, but it's like you're not making this is a separate character. It needs a separate movie, a separate feel. I understand he was there with Guardians of the Galaxy. I understand the movie starts with Guardians of the Galaxy.
They're not in it. The Guardians of the Galaxy are not in the movie.
Just
right.
at the beginning.
It's a Thor movie. It's not a Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Mm-hmm.
I should go into a Thor movie and have a different feel than I should going into a Guardians of the Galaxy movie. I should go into an Avengers Endgame, which I'm one of the few that was like this. I was so done with superhero movies at that point. I was like, I don't care, just get over it. It's a 3-hour freaking long movie. What the heck?
Like you on that one too.
Yeah,
I like it.
I should go into every single one of these movies with a different outlook, with a different feel, because they're different characters with different personalities. And if you just copy and paste,
yeah.
Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah. Superheroes are dead. But a glimmer of hope if you want good superhero content. If you haven't heard of him already, Young Ripa, or I guess his name is Eric July, but he's also known as Young Ripa, just launched his Ripaverse comics, which he's one of the OG YouTubers, and he just launched a comic. The first issue is out. It's being crowdfunded, but on his own website, so he doesn't have to give any money to Patreon or GoFundMe. You know, the kind of companies that fund people who try and murder women and their children. You guys heard about that?
Missed that one. Yeah.
Yeah. There's currently a GoFundMe for a shooter who tried to kill a woman and his baby, and there's a GoFundMe for her, and no one's giving her money. But I digress. Sorry to get political. But his whole thing is, hey, I'm going to make comics, and I promise you, there will be no politics in them. Also, we're going to respect the customers. We're going to respect canon and continuity. We're not going to do any multiverse garbage. So if a character dies, he's dead. That's literally, he's launching it. Hey, we're going to make comics like they used to make comics. And in the first 2 weeks, they've made $3 million
Nice.
on one comic book. I've backed it. And David, you're welcome to share if you live in Utah. But it's not that expensive. It's $35 for like a 100-page comic book. So a lot of the issues are sold out, and they won't be reprinting them. They want them to be exclusive, but they still have different covers that you can still purchase.
Nice.
They made $1 million in 24 hours, and since then, in the next 2 weeks, they've made $3 million, which is unheard of. It's already one of the best-selling comics, and it's not attached to any name. It's not Marvel. It's not DC. It's one of the best. It's crazy. So support something that's good.
Yeah.
Let's look into that.
There's a really funny tweet talking about Thor: Love and Thunder and the whole cancer thing, which I wanted to bring up because it's hilarious. But people are offended that there's not a trigger warning for a depiction of cancer in the film. Which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. Imagine going in to see A Walk to Remember, and it starts off with warning: the main character dies of cancer at the very end of this film. Watch like
it's Disney. It's Disney. They had it at the beginning of Obi-Wan because of Order 60, the one episode of Order 66. Every episode had a warning. This may contain graphical.
I thought it was just the last two.
Whatever it was.
Either way,
Order 66. If you don't know the Jedi are killed by this time,
I think it was more the violence on children, and especially with some of the shootings that have been going.
What violence on children? We didn't see any violence on children.
Do I have to have a trigger warning? I am so triggered because there's been school shootings in real life, and,
Okay.
and in a world there's a. I'm triggered
No.
because I know people that have died of cancer. Some of my best friends in life and role models have died of cancer.
Mhm.
I legitimately.
I'm not going to be offended if I go into a movie. Oh, there's cancer. I'm probably going to relate to it, but I'm not going to be like, I need a trigger warning.
I legitimately thought that this was sarcasm at first.
It's
I
not.
didn't realize
No, this
that it's
guy's
not.
way serious.
I'm like, oh no, I thought he was being sarcastic.
No, it's a huge plot line in it, and there's lots of images, which is pretty nasty to watch. It needs to be treated with sensitivity. Okay, let's say that they give in. Where would this end?
It doesn't. It doesn't.
There is no end. If you give in to, like, you would literally just have to play to before any movie started. You would just have to post a plot summary. So if you're offended by any of these things, don't watch the movie.
Like, the following 10 minutes is going to offend people, and then like no.
Like, it pauses in the middle. Warning:
Yeah.
You are about to see a main character get stabbed. Like,
You are about to be triggered.
No.
Jump off a cliff.
yeah, it's embarrassing. It's bad.
I'm triggered by people jumping off cliffs, Corwin. I can't believe.
Yeah, where was the warning for that one? Come on, Corwin.
What was that?
I said, yeah, where was the trigger warning for that one? Come on.
Look at this face and see if I care.
I'm sorry, Corwin. I should have given you a trigger warning for all the trigger warnings that people
I
are
have
trying to put out
literally
there.
told people in my job that I don't care if they commit suicide or not. I'm a cop. Like, I've literally told people I don't care. Wait, what? I don't. It does not affect my life. It affects you. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. So, do you want to go to the hospital and get help, or do you want to jump off the bridge? Let's go to the hospital and get help. Great. Let's go to the hospital and get help.
No.
That's probably helped more people.
I am very jaded.
In all honesty,
jaded.
that attitude has probably saved more people than coddling has.
It honestly has. It honestly has. And I'm not like there have been, and I should preface this, there have been times where there have been serious issues, and I haven't said that. But it's pretty easy once you've been doing this job long enough. It's pretty easy to know when you're looking face to face with the person, you're doing this for attention compared to you really are going to kill yourself. Yeah. And I treat two things totally different, right?
Yeah.
The guy with the gun in his hand pointed to his head, been there, done that, getting ready to blow his brains. He has absolutely no emotion. He's just like, leave me alone. I'm not going to shoot you. I'm going to turn around and walk out. Just walk away, and then you can collect it. That I know, and that I have to handle it differently. But the person that calls 45 people and posts on their TikTok and all this stuff, they're looking for attention. And that's what this is right here. I mean, I know that's what this is right here. I'm triggered because this shows a depiction of cancer. I know someone like, grow up.
All they want is attention.
Yes.
Yep.
Grow up.
Yeah, it's silly. Be an adult. That's the world does not exist to coddle you. Yeah. The world exists to harden you and make you become a better person.
The world exists to eat you alive. And if people don't understand that by now, like one of the greatest monologues of all time is in Rocky 5 when Rocky's talking to his son, and he's like, the world is just going to beat you down, and it will keep you down when you let it. And the world's not all sunshine and rainbows, and you need to learn that by now. And the world will eat you alive if you let it. And you have to be a strong individual. And that doesn't mean you can't ask for help. There's been times I've called Alan and said, Alan, I need to talk. I need help.
I had told him to, of course, I responded with, go kill yourself.
Absolutely, 100%. But that does, and it's the same thing. All right, so the scene in the movie affected you because maybe you went to go see the movie and your mom had just died of cancer. I get it. My heart reaches out to you. There doesn't need to be a trigger warning. How about you go talk to a friend?
Yeah.
How about you say, I really like the movie, but this really bugged me. You don't need to.
Therapy exists so that things like this don't trigger you.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Not the other way around.
Yep. 100%.
So go see if you're really struggling, go talk to a therapist and learn how to deal with surprises in real life that you will. It's impossible to avoid surprises like this, and it would be ridiculous to expect that.
Yep.
So go talk to someone who can help you learn how to deal.
So you can be strong to deal with life, and it's okay that you need help. If you need help, I mean, this whole conversation is taking a real turn.
Yeah, way to bring the whole screen down.
If you need help, it's okay to get help. That's okay. It's fine to get. It's fine if you need help.
There's no shame in
needs help.
therapy.
There's no shame in it.
So somebody actually put it in a really good way where a therapist or going into a doctor like that it's like going to a gym for your mind. Like if your mind needs work, needs to be stronger, there's no problem with that. Like go work on your brain like you would work on any other physical attribute or anything like that.
If for some reason you thought Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom was a good movie, go see it there.
I haven't seen it.
Hello, bro.
Got him.
Hello, brother.
Well, we've got we're gonna move on to some bad takes, everybody.
Screen Rants. Bad takes.
Did you guys get an echo there? I did.
Yeah, it was a weird echo for.
On the mute, sorry.
Okay. I don't know. My computer's messed up right now.
No, that was
so.
me. Sorry, Alan.
Oh, the Grand Inquisitor Kenobi designed the Grand Inquisitor in Kenobi looked like garbage, but it's okay because it was explained by the Clone Wars creators' advice. Dave Filoni he gave advice for adapting animated Star Wars designs to live action to help them create the Grand Inquisitor. He said, you got to imagine that it's the live action came first, and that the animated series was an exaggerated version of that live action. So it's okay that he looked terrible.
I didn't have a problem with them.
Dave Filoni, what experience does he have adapting animated to live action other than this show?
No, he has the opposite. That's why he did his comic.
Why is he giving this advice then?
Honestly, the advice is fine. They didn't actually take the advice. Yeah. They sucked at taking his advice. That's the problem. His advice was great. Yeah, sure, that's fine. That live action version does not look like it came late. It came first, and that the cartoon version was an exaggerated version of it. It doesn't.
They're completely different.
Yeah. But, and to be fair, I think he looks terrible in that shot. In the one they had in the header, he looks a lot better in that one. That one looks a lot better.
That one looks okay.
They should have just given him yellow. They should have given him the yellow eyes. Just give him little glowy eyes.
Technically does, but they don't glow. Yeah.
They do,
and it would be fine. Like it would be fine because you can't. I mean, you can't like squish your head up for a live. I mean, I guess you could, but
get a little bit of prosthetics for the forehead. Just
while that's true, Jared. While that's true, Corwin, you also could have hired an actor who didn't have such a freaking huge head.
Yeah.
Ginormous,
and one that was willing to research the role that he was playing before he portrayed it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's so many takes
to that one.
There are so many takes that we got to move on. Okay. The Den of Geek now. Star Wars finally fixes prequel era plot hole that hurt the original trilogy.
No,
the original trilogy
saw this, but I didn't read it. What is
the
it about?
original trilogy is doo-doo and full of plot holes, and thank the Lord for our Lord and Savior Disney is coming in and saving the continuity of Star Wars by not breaking canon, but fixing it. It's because Leia said she remembered her mother.
Well, how do they say it explains it?
Because Kenobi in the final episode kind of tells her about her parents. That doesn't fix anything.
Nope.
No. That's something I was honestly hoping that they would allude to, saying that she had visions of her mom or something. But
doesn't fix anything. John Sivadara, you're stupid.
I will
Congratulations.
Say that title is not saying that the original trilogy was dumb and terrible. It was saying that the prequels were dumb for creating a plot hole with the existing good stuff from the original trilogy.
Which then they
didn't actually fix that, so you're still stupid.
Still better than Disney Star Wars.
Yeah.
This is some very discouraging news. The Mandalorian Season 3 is going to commit to explaining Rise of Skywalker plot holes. So the one show that was kind of decent is going to really commit hard into the stuff that everyone hated. So good job, Disney.
I read an article that Disney's considering making the the three. I just read it like this week from the Magic Kingdom or whatever it is, the site that's just nothing but Disney. I just read it that there's a rumor going around that they're just going to take that off of canon and make it a legend thing.
the prequel,
Rise
the
of
sequel,
Skywalker?
trilogy.
The sequel trilogy.
There is no.
No.
They've already committed to it so hard.
They would never do that.
No chance. Yeah. And I don't really want them to. As much as I don't love a lot of things that they did with that, I don't want them messing around with that. Just you made the choice. You made your bed. Now sit in it. Do what you got to do. And
Yeah.
I don't know. The little leaks in the trailer that I saw of Mandalorian season 3, I'm surprised because while I want them to try to do what they can to fix the plot holes with Rise of Skywalker, that looks like they're doing Mandalore stuff, and that looks way better way more interesting to me. I'd rather do your fixing.
People want to know about the Mandalore.
Make Mandalorian about Mandalorian. Do your fixing in something else.
And they were already kind of plugging the holes on that with the whole wanting Grogu for some secret cloning project.
Yeah,
that's obviously a tie-in to.
I think that's
Rise
probably
of
where they're
Skywalker.
going with this. Is they're saying that they're going to really lean into that. Yeah.
It's okay though, because I found a video that's hilarious. You guys gotta watch. If Disney shot Revenge of the Sith, you see the thumbnail, how you can't see anything on. I'm gonna leave it muted just in case because it's got some music, but it's freaking hilarious. I'm gonna link this in the video because it's so good.
They just color graded it and
Yeah,
turned
Well,
down.
shade it.
And when they start sword fighting, it's so good. It's so good.
Do you see the shaky cam?
Yeah,
though?
the shaky
Yeah.
cam. Shaky.
Oh goodness!
Oh. Cut in so close you can't see
Yeah.
anything. This perfectly sums up why Disney doesn't know how to do Star Wars.
Yeah, and then it cuts to the end.
And you can't. I love how you can't see like the background or anything. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Oof.
Wait, what happened?
that's bad.
It's genius. Whoever made this
That's
is an
hilarious.
absolute legend. It's okay.
Did you see the alternate cut for the Leia chase scene?
Oh yeah, that was good. That one
So
was
good.
They just
The
dagger it.
one that Alan got banned. You mean?
No.
Someone else said, "Who are you here for? We're here for you," and it just cuts to the end where they put a bag over it.
Put a bag over it.
Yeah.
So
There's actually somebody who took the entire show, the entire the 3.5 whatever hours of it, cut out about 45 minutes of rearranged stuff, and it's like a lot better.
I haven't seen that yet, but I intend to.
I'm gonna post it in the comments here. Oops.
I think it cuts out links. I tried that in one of
Okay.
the earlier.
Maybe put it in
links.
I don't know. I'll
Okay.
put it somewhere.
It is okay. It is not all dire though. There is a small shining glimmer of hope.
Another glimmer of hope.
There are a few rebels inside Hollywood who actually have brains. One of them is my new favorite actress of all time, Ana de Armas.
She is so smoking hot.
Did you guys see this article? Because holy crap,
Yeah,
she
I did.
has a brain. First, the scene that she was in the new 007 movie, No Time to Die, was the only good part of the movie. Absolutely stunning and amazing fight choreography, and then the rest of the movie was just garbage, except for that one hallway stairway fight scene at the very end. But the rest of the movie was just so bad. She straight up says, someone asked her, "Hey, do you want to be because she's going to be in a John Wick spinoff where she plays a female assassin. I believe I can't remember what it's
Jane
called.
Wick.
Huh? Jane Wick.
Yeah.
No, but they're doing a bunch of John Wick spinoffs. They're doing a Continental TV show, and she I think she's like the Widowmaker or something like that. But she's going to get a John Wick spinoff, and judging by her performance in James Bond, she knows how to fight. It's crazy. I also just watched The Gray Man, and that was okay. She was in that. Yeah, someone asked her, "Hey, don't you want to? Why would you want to do this when you could probably be the next James Bond?" And she straight up says, "No, that's stupid. I don't want to steal someone else's character. You can make leads in James Bond. No, sorry. She said you can make female roles in James Bond more interesting, and Bond can still be a man.
Yep.
Yep.
you don't have to turn him into a woman.
Mm-hmm.
I love this woman.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I wouldn't want to steal someone else's character. Fantastic. Go watch Knives Out. She was. I think the Gray Man was okay. Gray Man was interesting because it was really cool to be able to see Chris Evans acting as himself, as a complete douchebag. So it was cool. He is a dick. He is not a good person. And he plays a bad guy, and the Gray Man was enjoyable because the lead is a great actor,
Ryan Gosling.
Ryan Gosling, fantastic, and Armas was good too. This is I have Netflix for a month because I had to get Stranger Things again. So
the real reason, the reason that when they did their split, they did it just 1 month later, just to make sure that you got you one more month.
Didn't I see 007 with you, Alan?
What?
The new one? Didn't me and you go see the new 007?
Yeah, we saw it together.
That's right.
It was awful, right?
I remember talking about it at the end. Yeah,
it was so bad.
We came out of the theater. We talked about it for like 30 minutes. Yeah,
the third act made no sense. None of it. Like, the villain did not have a purpose. He didn't have a plan. I did not understand what anyone was doing in that movie.
It was bad.
But Ana de Armas, the scene that she was in, she was hilarious too. She like pretends she's like, "Oh, it's my first day. I've never done this before," and then she kicks butt. She's like, "I'm just joking. I'm just." Funny. She's just like messing with him the whole time. It was hilarious.
She was funny. She's smoking hot, and she kicked butt. Like that's just what it is. Like she did awesome in that role.
Okay. I'm going to do a quick, incredibly nuanced segment. Are you ready for this? Here we go.
Incredibly nuanced.
Marvel fans call out major news outlet. Just effing call Sam Wilson Captain America.
No.
Incredibly nuanced.
That's it. He's not Captain America. I don't care. He looks stupid. It's a dumb idea. But also, what the news outlet did wasn't even offensive. They said, hey, in the fourth movie, he's not going to be He's not going to be reprising his role as he's going to come back as Sam Wilson. He's not going to be reprising his role as Falcon. And then everyone just call him Captain America. It's not that hard. That's not what the article was even talking about. Yeah, I'm not planning on seeing Captain America 4. I think this is a stupid idea.
I'll see it. I wasn't around when you guys were talking about Falcon Winter Soldier. I still had fun with the show. Some of the things that you guys complained about, I recognize the problems there, but I still thought it was pretty good.
That was their worst show. It was a love letter to Black Lives Matter and Antifa after 2 years of them rioting and burning this country to the ground. It was disgusting. I hated it.
Yeah, see, I guess I'm just not as aware of what all they're going on with because I just don't even pay attention to it. It's not even worth it to me.
Yeah. Also, it doesn't make sense that he has the shield. He doesn't have superpowers. He can't do anything with the shield. Okay.
Steve gave it to him. That's all that matters.
Yeah, as a wall ornament.
It just doesn't make sense. It make Bucky the Captain America mantle, but don't call him Captain America. Call him like Captain Bucky, right? Like,
Chris, actually, I'd be totally cool with like Captain Russia.
That'd be freaking awesome.
Like, I mean,
but Steve Rogers is Captain America, not Sam Wilson. Yep. Okay, these other articles are about Stranger Things, so I can save them for later if we ever end up talking about that. We gotta go into. Do you want Lord of the Rings?
I've got to go put my kids to bed, or my wife's gonna kill me.
Okay, so go to bed. We'll talk about Stranger Things, and then come back and we'll do Lord of the Rings. Okay. All right. Here, there we go. Okay. Moving on to Stranger Things. We're running for an hour and 10 minutes. Jared wants to keep this to a 2-hour stream. I don't think it's just me that wants. You can leave. You can leave at the 2 hour mark. You don't have to stay for the whole time. But we'll try. And, oh man, we are not on track. Right. So Stranger Things season 4. I liked it.
Wait, what? You liked it?
No, I liked it. It was pretty good.
You liked something?
Mikey likes it.
I just barely liked Top Gun 2. Okay.
You're right.
Also, the rehearsal. It's on HBO Max. You guys have my password. You can watch it. You can also go and watch. Nathan For You, the 4 seasons of that. The rehearsal is incredible. It is mind-blowingly good. It is insane what he does with real people. He gets real people to agree to do the craziest crap imaginable. It's insane. Watch the rehearsal. Stranger Things season 4 was pretty good. I compared to the other seasons, it's the second best. The season 1 is 10 out of 10 perfection. Season 2, 8 out of 10. Season 3, I would go 6 or 7 out of 10. Season 4, 9, 8.
Martino with the one-liners in the chat. All the good ones. I agree with you though.
Stranger Things have happened. Very nice.
It was pretty good. There are some things that I did not enjoy, but for the most part, it was a good ride. I think the biggest problems are things. Well, they still had to deal with the Russia plotline because of season 3. They couldn't just drop it. And that is some of the weakest stuff in this season is the Russia. And then 11's plotline started off interesting, got really slow, and then the ending was really good. But that got dragged out. I don't think they needed the runtime that they had. For the final episode, I thought that was fine. But they dragged out Russia. They dragged out Russia and 11 way too much.
It is a nice contrast to the 30-minute Disney Plus shows. It's nice to have something that actually has some substance to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but at the same time, it was kind of hard to watch that last 2-hour one because we were like, oh, I was expecting a 45-minute show.
Yeah, I will say that
better than most things on TV. Better than the majority of television right now.
Eddie jamming Master of Puppets in the Upside Down. That's Metallica could only be so proud of how that looked because that was pretty metal.
I knew that they were going to kill Eddie.
Yeah, that was.
I was hoping that they wouldn't do it.
Oh, have you not seen it?
It's
David.
So predictable.
David.
It's so predictable. I
knew
kept saying,
someone
I
was gonna
really
die.
hope they don't do it because they've literally done it every season. They will introduce a new character and kill him off so that they don't have to kill off any of the cast.
Because there were people going into this last couple episodes, oh, who's going to die is Will or 11 or Steve or whoever, and I'm like,
Steve's getting close. I think
it could, and I think that would be one of those ones where it's it makes sense with regards to we still have a lot of our main characters, and Steve's one that we've been attached to, but maybe his arc is done. And it's all we need from him. And he's a good one that we could get that powerful emotion with to kill. Eddie was one we really got attached to, which was great. They did a good job of attaching us to him before they killed him. But he was the new character that they killed, and they just kept all the
worst part about it wasn't that we were attached to the character. I like that they're willing to kill characters you're attached to. Yeah. The problem is they're not willing to kill the main characters.
Yeah. No, I completely agree.
The problem is they did it at the expense of potentially very interesting storytelling. Imagine if they kept him alive, the stuff that they would have had to talk about
that's honestly
would
one
have
of the
been
biggest things.
Incredible. Imagine bringing him back and having to take the town to task, saying you guys just tried to do some horrible things to a person who did nothing.
Yes and no. The biggest problem with that is
the scapegoat. They kill him off so they don't have to deal with it. They don't
So-
have to
so a
deal.
lot
There
of
are
it is-
no consequences to anything that happened because they killed the character.
The only problem is that from the town's perspective, they could still blame all of this on Eddie, so they wouldn't be able to say, no, it wasn't Eddie, it wasn't his fault.
Right. You can't blame that on a kid.
I mean, if they're sure that there's some sort of satanic thing going on, and he's summoning portal, like they're like, oh, this is Eddie, he must have opened this portal or whatever, this portal to hell that's going on in the middle of our town. They'd blame him the same way they blamed him the entire
have
season,
to deal with that. And instead, they kill him off, so they never have to address it, and so that he can have a moment with his dad. And he doesn't even that conversation wasn't even good. He should have said, Eddie saved my life, and he died trying to save everyone. Like he didn't even give him the important information.
I thought he said that. I thought he said,
no,
Eddie saved my life. I'm pretty sure he said Eddie saved my life.
No, he just said Eddie was a hero, and he doesn't give any specifics.
Okay. Well, and the other thing that to me I think would have made that really interesting was
also he didn't even die in an interesting way.
Yeah. if they kept him alive, and if they had killed Steve instead, like the journey that Dustin would have had to go through in like, man, like I'd been attaching to this new guy, and now it's like, oh, I get to go back to my buddy with Steve. But if they'd killed off Steve, it'd be like, man, I've lost this person that's been with me for a long time, and now I'm struggling with this new guy that I'm having, being buddy with and all that.
I knew that they weren't going to commit to killing off the other character, and I was like, they're obviously not going to do it. They're obviously, she's not dead.
Oh yeah, her Max.
And so I knew that they weren't going to do that. It's an okay middle ground that at least there were some consequences to that. And I like the state that her character is currently in. And I'm like, okay, I would have preferred if you committed to it. That is the wrong character to commit to. If you're going to kill one off, that was the wrong one, which is why I knew it wasn't going to be permanent. But I liked that there were at least some consequences.
Yeah, but they didn't actually end up winning. Yeah,
but for the most part, it was really fun.
David.
For the most part, it was super fun, except for the ending doesn't make sense to me at all, because it ended with the portals opening, and then it cuts to like 2 weeks later, and people are just in the town right next to the portals. Like
most of them were fleeing, but you
have like people in the town hall giving out teddy bears, and apparently, I guess the portals were still there, and then it ends with the stinger of, oh, the portals are open. They're like, but shouldn't you have known this for 2 weeks? Like, I don't understand. Did they close and then reopen? And why did no one in town notice or care at all? Like, I think
that they did notice. That's why they were handing out teddy bears in the schools, because people were handling the destruction that was going on.
If there is a glowing portal spewing ash, you leave the city and hand out teddy bears in the next town.
That's where it doesn't make sense. Is that they should not have had the people still there, but they kind of. I
think it was trying to imply that when they saved the dead character, it closed.
Mm-hmm.
The portals closed and then only reopened at the end of the episode, but that was not clear. It just didn't make sense.
It really wasn't clear. Yeah, that's true. It was not clear the way that kind of 2 week progression, what happened during those 2 weeks. It was kind of an odd jump to make. Because you're right. Portals opening is like, whoa, what the heck? Let's get out of here or whatever.
But for the most part, pretty good quality television. They managed to scoop it up a lot better from the lows that were season 3.
So David, how far have you gotten? Have you watched any of it?
Sorry, I'm tuning you guys out. I'm reading about the Rippaverse. No, I haven't watched any of it because someone hasn't shared their Netflix password.
Well, last time I shared it with you, your daughter resubscribed.
This feels like we're airing a grievance right now, but I didn't think we were doing that this week.
Okay.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Okay, yeah. Sorry, man.
So, by the way,
I'll give you the password if you don't share it with if you don't put it on your TV.
I'm only paying for Disney Plus and Amazon Prime and Peacock, and the least I could do that you could do is
you're not paying for Peacock.
Yeah, I am.
I thought it was free. Well,
not
I
the
There's different
Peacock
tiers.
Premium.
Oh,
Yeah.
you paid me. All right.
No, it comes for free with my internet.
While we're waiting on Corwin, did anybody else ever actually get around to checking out Miss Marvel?
No.
I haven't
No,
done
I
that
don't
yet.
think I
No.
will either.
You've probably at least seen the articles about the ending or what they ended up doing with that.
No.
I've been
But
avoiding spoilers.
I have one more Stranger Things thing to talk about.
Oh, okay, yeah, sorry.
Which was the whole Will is gay thing.
Kind of out of nowhere, but whatever.
Huh?
It was kind of out of nowhere, but whatever.
It doesn't. Okay, I didn't like it. Not that you can't have queer characters. Okay. Like I was complaining about before, is like all of these characters are like deeply in love as like freshmen in high school, which is just not realistic, right? They found the loves of their lives.
They
but
feel that way at the very least. That's realistic that they would think that they would feel that way, but
right.
Yeah.
But even if you do feel that way in freshman year of high school, it lasts 2 months and then it's over.
Yeah.
That's generally how early relationships
because
go.
it was split up with the first half. They hinted pretty heavily that Will was gay for Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Right, that he has gay feelings for Mike, and he was suppressing them. And they ended that season, and everyone on Twitter was like, "Oh, is Will gay? Are you guys going to tell us?" And they made a huge point to say, "We are leaving that open to interpretation. We're not going to take a stance on it. Like we're hinting at his sexuality, but it's ultimately up to the audience to decide." Which was a complete lie.
Yeah,
because they do not leave it open. In the second half, it's very clear.
I was going to say
that he's gay for Mike.
They go as far as to not actually say "I love you, Mike" or anything like that, but they would go right up to that line.
That's obviously what was happening.
Yeah.
That you know, so they were lying about that, and then CBR comes out with this article. Stranger Things is No, wait. They changed this, didn't they? I think I pulled up the wrong article. There were I pulled up the wrong article because there were two of them. The original article was So Will lying about his paintings has fans convinced that Mike has that he has feelings for Mike. Yeah, because that's what the show said. Like this isn't conjecture. I think they changed the title of this. It used to be more stupid. But like, yeah, like this wasn't left open to interpretation. This is what it was.
And
the article is pretending like, could it be
screen.
possible that he's gay? And then they do this. They write the same article twice again, right? and they're like, is he actually gay? These unanswered questions about his sexuality. The questions were answered, guys.
Yep.
Apart from just the silliness of these articles, I also didn't like it because it makes Will's character really creepy. It's not a healthy romance. To explicitly fall in love with someone who is not attracted to your gender.
Not always something you can control, though.
It's not a good look, and it makes him almost as creepy as his older brother, with his creepy picture taking. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
And the scene where they revealed it, I thought was super cringy when he was like, "Ooh," like crying, and I'm like, you're so young. Like, why are we? I don't get that we're making people that media is often portraying kids this young as being in the deepest love they've ever been in their life.
And again, I didn't mind that one in terms of that they show that he is feeling that in that moment and those times or whatever. It's to your point and kind of what David was clarifying on the idea of like, yeah, but then where Jonathan and Nancy, like, they're still like the love of their lives 2 months later, where it's like, no, you haven't figured it out by then. You'll feel that strongly. You'll feel like, oh, the world is ending. You'll be dying over the fact that you have a crush on this person, you like this person, you love this person. You are sure that everything in the world has to revolve around that. But a couple months later, you're going to be feeling differently. So when they presented it in the moment that you're feeling that, that's fine with me. It's just that like when it's like, oh, somehow they've actually not just a couple of odd, unusual instances where you find the love of your life in high school, but like there's like 6 people who like they're with the people that they've been with for like 3 years and they're still madly in love, and then they're going to end up together and live for 30 years happily. Like, okay,
Well,
like that, come on.
But that usually doesn't happen freshman year of high school.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, you're convinced of it freshman year of high school. Yeah.
So
I agree.
I think part
Jared,
of what
you're trying to toss
happens
something
with
in, Jared, but you're kind of breaking up.
Is that any better if I get closer?
Barely, yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Barely?
Yeah.
Okay, well, hopefully the majority of this is audible.
Uh-huh.
You sound much better now.
Much better? Okay, good. So basically, what I was thinking is that, one, I think there's a lot of emotions around that time period, right? Because you're going through some hormone changes and things like that, right? And 2, you're also, they're spending like every day together, right? So they're spending a lot of time together, and I think that often has a lot of influence too on how you feel about individuals, right? It's how much time you spend with them.
Mm-hmm.
And that also plays a lot into, you know, how this could be built up, and I agree
that's the thing though. With they worked together though. They hadn't seen each other for a whole year, and he'd spent that year pining over his old friend who he knows is never going to be attracted to him.
It's not healthy, but it doesn't mean that I mean, he's also a freshman in high school. So who says freshmen in high school have figured anything out up here to be smart about that? Yeah, I didn't mind that aspect of it at all. I mean,
I just think it's something he's gonna have to, you know, something he's gonna have to figure out. And I guess that's kind of how I saw it. That potentially, yes, that's kind of how they were leaning towards those sort of feelings that he had that, but that's something that he's gonna have to figure out if he's, you know, wants to pursue that or if he wants to leave it behind. Like in any relationship, even the older you get, right? Like you're gonna be in relationships where you're like, shoot, like this person isn't attracted to me, or this person doesn't like me. Do I choose to continue to like them, or do I choose to move on and get over it? Or
specifically looking at that, he's spending this entire conversation where it hurts him. It sucks because he feels a certain way, but then he realizes that Mike is in love with 11, and 11 is in love with Mike, and so he goes through this entire thing talking about the painting, showing that, like telling Mike, you need to do this to fix your relationship with 11, and he's giving him good advice. He's actively ruining the chances that he didn't really have, because Mike doesn't feel that way about him anyway. But like he's actively like facilitating Mike getting into a relationship that is not with him, because he's actually figuring that out. He's not actually I don't know.
I think my biggest contention is just that the show was more interesting when it was about kids having adventures and not about the love lives of freshman kids.
I can't argue that. I will say
though,
though,
I don't like any of the romances. The only one that I do like is Steve and the girl
Nancy.
And they're not even together, right? So like I don't like 11 and Max and Mike together. I don't like. I keep forgetting the black kid's name. Lucas. I don't like Lucas and Redhead. I don't like their relationship. I miss the days when you could just tell stories about friendship, and not about love.
I can't totally argue with you on that one. I will say though, one of the things that I did appreciate that I really liked they did well was
Get out of
here. Seeing Jonathan picking up on all this and seeing him just being
it was a good moment.
Brother.
It was a good moment.
It took me a minute because I'm just like, oh, that's actually really cool that he loves and cares about his brother. And then I realized, but that's actually always been his thing. So on the one hand, it's like, I guess that's expected. It's nothing new. But it's also like, hey, at least they're consistent with Jonathan will always, no matter what, be watching out for Will, caring about Will, and wanting to make sure that he takes care of his little brother. And I really like that. You know, again, it would have been great if it was. I prefer it to be focused on the upside down stuff and the monsters, but hey, this was a fine little thing to divert onto. Sure, I don't know. I didn't mind it.
Look, it's not that you can't do a good romance. It's just that I find it extremely less interesting than the friendship stories. the show was more fun when it was about the kids playing D&D and killing monsters than it is now, where everyone's paired off and found their soulmates as kids.
Yeah.
I'd be even happier.
And I think
if in the end
I
of
will
it,
say,
they
of all the
ended up going,
romances,
nobody else has gotten
of
involved.
all the romances, this is the most interesting one because Max is like, hey, this really isn't the time for that. Like she's
Yeah.
like she's not as into it as Lucas's is because she's a kid. This
well,
is the
and
most
she's also
realistic
like
one.
really grieving, trying to deal with the crap that was like she had a crappy older brother that she watched die right in front of her, and she kind of wasn't sad about, but she kind of was sad about it and trying to figure out what that meant for her because that's pretty messed up to watch your brother die in front of you.
Unless he was a bad brother.
He was an awful brother.
Some brothers you would feel sad if they died, but
Would you feel sad if I died?
Depends.
Let's not answer that on
The
screen.
hesitation.
if it was a brother, for example, who would take you out into the woods and pee on you, you might not feel bad if he was killed.
How about a brother that,
by a demonic?
If it was a brother that would share the Netflix password.
Or a brother that gaslights you about your love of certain Jurassic World movies.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't have the text anymore but it was literally a text on my phone.
It was not a text on your phone. You're making things up. You were trying
You
to
said
gaslight
Martina, and
me.
I loved it. I can't believe you didn't like it.
No.
It was
But,
the day up because I was talking with my friend who I saw it in theaters with my good friend Sam, and we were talking about how stupid it was. And I texted you because I knew that you had already seen it, and I was like, "Man, it was so stupid." And you're like, "What? I loved it," and I was flabbergasted. It's a moment that's ingrained in my mind for forever.
It was probably my wife texting on my phone because she liked it more than I did.
By the way, I apologize to our viewers that I've made us retread this same topic
so many times.
I can't wait to have a wife so that I can blame all of my texts on her.
There you go.
That's a good one, Jared.
Oh, sorry, that stupid thing I said? Yeah, that was my dumb wife.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but I'd be like, "Oh, well, that was her."
Nice.
What? What? I don't like Star Trek. It was my dumb wife.
So you guys mentioned earlier, you were saying we should watch the rehearsal and the other show. Here's the real
Nathan,
question,
for
because
you.
I'm at a crossroads where I'm thinking about picking something else up. Should I go for those or should I go for the Orville?
Orville,
The Orville.
100%.
Over the over.
I'm
That was what I
watching
was
through
looking at.
Orville. I have loved every single episode this season.
Awesome.
There's one episode, I think it's episode 3. You can tell it was like the low budget episode, like
Their bottle episode, kind of.
but it was still like
Episode 1.
100% Star Trek.
Episode 1.
And there's actually a reason for the bad
Yeah.
CGI if you finish it.
That's on Paramount.
It's on Hulu.
It's on
actually.
Hulu. And actually it's coming to Disney Plus.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I saw the banner last night. I was scanning Disney Plus. It was like the Orville coming to Disney Plus soon. I'm like, wait, what? So it makes me think they might be phasing out Hulu and
Season
bringing
1.
everything
sounds
on
kinda
there
like it,
because
yeah.
they just brought in Daredevil or not Daredevil. They previously
did,
brought in
yeah.
Daredevil. They brought in
This-
Deadpool, both 1 and 2, and Logan.
Oh,
on
it's
Disney Plus.
Disney Plus, huh? Wow.
You
Because
can watch them
now
on
they've
Disney
got
Plus
their
now.
parental
Yeah.
system set up, and
It will.
most everybody
it
seems
will-
pretty okay with that. So they're like, all right, hey, we can actually do this, and not have to have
Yeah.
two separate
Yes.
Yeah.
services.
It will just be the
Wow.
first 2 seasons because Fox does not own season 3.
Oh, okay.
They dropped it. Hulu picked it up for season 3.
Well, but Hulu picked it up, and Hulu being
Hulu's owned by Disney.
yeah.
but-
So
okay.
I'm sure it'll eventually end up there. But I'll have to check that out. And it's good to know that it'll be on there because I want to watch one and two.
It specifically said Orville New Frontiers, which is the title of season 3. So season 3 is coming
Oh, okay.
to Disney Plus soon.
The first episode, like seasons 1 and 2 are fantastic. Like season 1 is it's more of a comedy, right?
Right. Yeah.
This show was billed as a comedy. It was supposed to be a comedy, and season 1 is pretty funny, but surprisingly heavy. And then season 2 is just like, psych. We're just a Star Trek show now.
Yeah.
We're not telling jokes.
Yeah.
And there's like an occasional like one joke per episode, and then season 3 is just peak
All
Star Trek.
all the
Like,
time.
episode 1 of season 3 blew my mind away.
Mhm.
It talks about suicide in a way that most people don't do. That's actually really, really good.
Yeah.
One of the lines is absolutely brilliant, talking about self-ending. I don't know how many times I can say that word on a stream, but the character says that it's dumb. It says it's dumb. Don't do it. There is no problem in the universe that could be so bad that it could not be fixed with time.
Mm.
And they're like, anyone who does it is selfish,
And then they added on
which
to
is
something like
100% true.
Yeah.
It is a selfish act, and most people aren't willing to say that.
Mm.
And in that monologue, it also says something along the lines of, the universe is not going to be better without you in it, or
yes,
or the issue
Yes.
is not going to fix itself if you weren't in it,
Yeah.
or something
Yeah.
like that. It was so good.
As somebody who knows people who've struggled with that, though, I think depends, because I mean, obviously those are statements that I think are true, but
I think they're important to hear.
Making those decisions aren't in a place to hear those or necessarily always understand those in the moment, and that's part of the problem. So they don't recognize that.
But I don't think
it's true,
not saying it is going to help either.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. The problem is that they are in a state of mind where they can't comprehend that message.
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
But I mean, you have
Doesn't
to
make
say
it not true. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, for sure. Yep. I agree with you.
Again,
I'm interested. I'm interested to see, because I've heard good things
Get
about
a
the order to begin with.
Get a therapist, guys.
Yes. Message of this show: get a therapist.
If you don't want a therapist, you can always tweet your grievances to Technically Mexican, and we will air them on the show.
Wow.
We do not guarantee a successful therapy from grievances aired on Technically Mexican.
I was going to say, there's got to be.
I will take full responsibility for any outcome. We're still waiting for Corwin. Let's talk about Raised by Wolves real quick then.
Yeah. Yep.
Episode 7, because Corwin already talked about the whole thing, I think. But
I forgot we hadn't finished talking about Raised by Wolves.
there's 2 more episodes.
Well, we kept on.
I finished them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
you
finished
finished
them
them?
both. I actually watched them both just 2 hours
Jared's
ago.
the only one that hasn't watched the last episode then.
Yeah.
Yep.
Episode 7 is fantastic because, oh my goodness. Episode 7 is really good, but it also features really the only problem I've ever had with the show, which is Marcus's turn happens way too fast and doesn't make the fact that he turns makes sense. The way that he does is a little bit out of order in this episode, because it starts off with him giving the fruit to everybody and making everybody eat the fruit, and then he comes back and says, "Oh, I don't believe that soul is good anymore." And you're like, "But you just did the thing." What should have happened? What should have happened? Because I mean, later on in the next episode, they show we already know Sue turned into a tree. It didn't explicitly show it. They do show that process happening later to a different character in one of those hologram cards. Sorry to spoil the next episode. It's a tiny detail.
Yeah.
What should have happened is Marcus should have seen it happen to Sue. Because he literally turns in like the first scene or the second scene of this episode, but after he does the bidding of the tree, right?
I did think that was weird.
It's a very sudden change, and it makes sense, except that it doesn't. What they needed to do was have him wake up and see her, like, "Sue, are you all right?" And then he sees her turn into the tree, and he's horrified by it. And then he tries to hide it from the kid. And they could have come up with some other way that the people eat the fruit, if that's a necessary thing that needed to happen.
I feel like
that would have better explained his 180.
Yeah, I don't know. I felt like I got all of those, most of those things, except for obviously him seeing it happen. Because from the previous episode, if I remember correctly, he figures it out before Paul does, and he tries to hide it from Paul for a while.
Yes.
So we have that. We have him. We see him all of episode 6.
But then he still does at the beginning of the episode. He still does the bidding, and then in the next scene, he says, "I don't know if I should have done that." And you're like,
I think,
come on.
Well, so I think that kind of comes because you can tell he's been struggling with like, oh my gosh, she turned into a tree, and there's at least some questioning. But he's like, all right, but I'm still doing this thing.
Yeah.
And then he goes to then he hears
burn me,
and he burns her. He tries to burn her, but the snake eats her, and that's where he's like,
so weird.
Okay,
the snake now eats the tree.
The tree. That was a bizarre scene for sure.
And then it
more
turns
stuff
into
in episode 8 that gets even
snake.
weirder. But I would say that the
Sue got
the other thing that for me also made it work was you heard from him a similar thing that he said that Sue said, where it's like maybe Sue is actually not, or sorry, maybe not Sue, maybe Soul is not good but evil. So because he's already been saying, oh, all this stuff about Mithraism, we're going to set aside all this because we're just going to do my thing because I'm the one hearing the voice of Soul.
It's a powerful entity.
It is, and so it doesn't turn from not believing in it at all, but just being like, I saw that my wife has been turned into this tree, and I've been struggling with that for a day or so. I'm still doing what it says, but then suddenly my wife says to burn the tree, burn me as a tree, and then I can, and then it's eating my snake. Maybe this isn't good. I'm gonna start down. So it worked for me. Like it was maybe just a hair sudden, like the way it was presented. But I honestly feel like they had all those beats in there, so it didn't bother me, that transition.
I just needed just a
little
bit stronger kick to believe his switch that fast.
Yeah,
and I think it would have been perfect if he saw it happen.
I think the only other reason that I think the thing that made it for me make sense in a story progression of the other things that felt fast of him, then now suddenly he is with the rest of the group, working with Mother, doing all of that, and a lot of that came from it's him having started to be in that place, and then the sudden decision of we have to do this because Mother is hurt. She's the only one that can kill this monster of a snake thing. How do we work on that? So I don't know. So he suddenly is just living there with them, and he's fine, and everybody's like, "Oh, that's cool,"
But that is my one and only complaint about this show ever.
I agree with you, bro. It would have been a lot better had they gone a different route like that. They could have still had Paul deliver the fruit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he could have done it.
Yeah, it could have been an argument between them about we're supposed to deliver this fruit. I said, no, I don't think we should. I don't know.
Marcus could have been like so stunned he goes into like a fugue state and he's just like unresponsive, and so the kid goes and takes the fruit and he's like, wait, no, what did you do? What did you do?
I do want to say I don't feel like you talked about it enough in the last episode. That fruit. I mean, I know you were talking about how like there's fruit like that in other parts of the world.
It's not shocking to me because I've seen stuff like that, but yeah.
It's not just that. The look of it, because it's red, and when they bite into it, it's
like fleshy.
I'm like,
looks like brains or something.
No. Oh yeah. No. Like I'm cool with
it's
the like
literally made of person. So
yeah. So that was just the thing. I'm like, oh, that was just no. No, thank you.
But isn't it so good?
Oh, yeah. I do want to say also talking about that last episode, did you notice that when the mermaid thing came and stole the baby, the acid burned Tempest, but it didn't look like the baby was being burned.
It did not burn the baby, no.
And that plays in with some of the stuff that I think we start seeing here. Maybe, kind of.
It does.
I'm trying to remember if that's episode 8 or not, because I watched them back to back.
Yeah.
But it's like, baby wasn't being burned, seemed to be doing okay, so that's interesting.
Campion has also shown like resistances to a lot of
things
because he's born on the planet.
Well, we don't know that that's why, but because he was resistant to the radiation, but the rest of the other kids that were also born on the planet weren't resistant to that. So,
but there are other things happening, though.
Yeah. But we actually, the first time that those mermaid creatures popped up in one of the episodes, we didn't bring them up in that episode, but they were like, whoa, this is a crazy creature looking thing.
It's
that again,
similar
we also get some
to
interesting
crawlies, but it's
information.
got flippers.
Yeah. Episode 8 actually clarifies that even more now that I think about it.
It does.
Yep.
Yes, it does. But this episode's great because Hunter finally becomes the coolest of the kids.
He really has been getting so much better as we go along.
He literally goes from the worst character to one of the most interesting ones.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's brilliant how you can do that.
Did his rescue of the baby, was that this episode?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
They find it
that's
and
the one
she
where
gets
it's
there and she's like, well, I didn't want this baby anyway, but I can't kill it. But at least it will have a mother that will love it. And
Yeah.
she's like, she gives it up. And he's like, no, that's BS. And freaking kills, so good.
I can't totally argue
And he's like,
against his
if
decision
you
there, but at
won't
the same
take care of
time,
this
like,
baby, I freaking will.
That I 100%
That-
am good with. The decision to be like, I don't care that you don't want it. I'm going to rescue it from this thing that seems to be taking care of it. Instead, I mean, I can't argue with it because it is a monster, but also maybe not. But then once he does rescue it and she doesn't want to take it, him stepping up, I do like so much about what he's doing. He is doing, and being smart with like, I need Bic. Yeah, I need this thing to be a heavy lifter for me, and just being smart about things. Oh,
Yeah,
so good.
I agree. I like him and his character a lot. The one thing I didn't like though is that in the last episode when she gave birth, she was ready to throw it in the acid ocean, and then as soon as it's born, she's like, I can't do it. I need this thing, and then it was stolen from her, and then she just flips again. And this one is like, I can't take care of it.
I think she realized that it was a life and that it had value, and she's like, I can't kill it. That doesn't necessarily mean that she wants to take care of it, because even when she was considering giving birth to it, she was trying to like give it up to the trust and stuff. And then in this episode, they're trying to rescue it because she sees it has value. But then when she gets to the monster and sees
that it's caring,
it's being taken care of.
But
I do not think that was a reversal on her character.
I agree. I like what happened. I don't like how she executed though. I thought she was a little bit too harsh. She still says when I look at it, I still see his freaking face every single time.
Would.
Yeah, I know,
but she just can't bring herself to kill it.
But I wish there would be more dialogue in there saying like I didn't want to take care of this thing, and just like what you said.
I thought all of that was implied.
I wish that would have been more stated because it seemed like she had just made a decision that she wanted to. She wanted to not kill the thing and to take care of it, and she wanted to go find her baby, and then all of a sudden she finds it and it's like, oh no, I can't take care of it.
I thought it was a great example of show don't tell, and everything that we've said was pretty heavily implied with no dialogue. And I think if they would have stopped and had a big conversation about the value of life. It didn't have to be
a big conversation, just one little line about maybe it's better.
Hunter's like, well, what are your opinions
maybe she'll be
on
safe.
Roe v. Wade? And then she could have been like, well, like.
All I'm saying is it could have been one little line saying, maybe, they'll be taken care of.
I don't know. I thought it was enough.
Someone will love it more than I do. Or more than I can, or something.
I personally thought it enough, but I understand if you needed more context clues to figure out stuff.
I figured out what was going on, and I liked what happened. I just wish there was more connection because she just flip flopped too often.
I definitely see where David's coming from with that, and I can't totally disagree. I do feel like there was a little bit of like there was a little something there where it wasn't. Yeah. The distinction between I see it as a valuable life versus I love it and wasn't clear. So that then when it went to at least it's alive, but I can't raise it.
Exactly.
Wasn't clear. So that the distinction between that kind of maybe makes it harder to.
Her feelings when she saw it again was more disdain for the creature, for her child, than
when she just gave birth to it.
And when she just gave birth to it. It should have been. It should have been more conflicted and then accepting of, okay, maybe this is better, but it was just more pure disdain for the child. It was like, I can't even look at the thing. Well, then why are you going to find it in the first place?
Yeah. I do wonder what
it just didn't make sense.
I do wonder what their plans are moving forward or what their plans would have been.
What their plans were.
Yeah. Because I will say, I don't know for sure, but based on what we were saying when it was first canceled, the creators of this sound like the kind that will probably at least make a comic out of the rest of their story.
If it doesn't get renewed, I hope that
that's why I still refer to it as
say,
what their plans are.
This was the plan, because holy
but
cat, they that they had plans.
I am curious to see what they have plans to do, what they plan to do with that, whether it's on the screen or on the page or what. Because
he already knows how the whole thing was going to end.
Yeah, the reason I'm curious with that,
an end.
Though, is because what we do see of the way that they continue to interact after this fact with Hunter trying to hand it to her refusing it, and then him deciding to take care of it, but she sticks around, and I think that they may explore some of that like struggle of being like, this is my flesh, this is my baby, and I do care about it, but also it really sucks because this came from a choice that was not mine to make, from somebody who abused me. Yeah, a terrible thing that happened. Yeah. So,
you also get the robot dies viral and writes stuff on a tree trunk viral. And then you get Mother talking to Grandmother to try and figure out how she can kill the snake. The snake kills a bunch of people, and
snake transformation was interesting. Once it ate the tree and like grew extra tentacles off to the side, you're like, oh, okay, I guess that's a thing.
Yeah. So then Mother talks to the Grandmother, and you get a little bit of lore that the technocrats were the people who were fighting against the believers. So now it's pretty much confirmed that Soul that Soul or Mithraicism was a religion on this planet. It's the same believers, right?
My perspective of that was this is a cycle. So this cycle of believers versus non-believers, and then they blow up the world, and we come back, and eventually we end up in the same spot where we've got believers versus non-believers.
They didn't blow up the world, though, because she says the goal of the entity is to destroy this planet, which makes me think the planet is a prison for whatever is in the core, because there are hints to that in the theme song. The core that never was now will be the bones of what was there before. Like it's some kind of ancient entity of power that they somehow stopped from doing evil things by imprisoning it in this planet. And the core never was, because it got stopped, and now it's going to be the bones of your ancestors. Corwin says Stranger Things is boring as watching a sundial on a cloudy day.
Is that Corwin? Never mind. I'm not going to respond to that then.
It's better than most television, Corwin.
And this season in particular was, I think, really pretty good.
It was good.
Really pretty good.
Really good.
Yeah, and then there's one more episode of Raised by Wolves. Corwin texts me. He says, "Finish without me because my baby won't go to sleep." But it's Rings of all that's left now is Rings of Power. Okay, I guess we can talk about some other trailers.
Or Dungeons and Dragons, yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons was fun.
Dungeons and Dragons. I was expecting to be horrible. Did you see the trailer, Jared?
I did see it.
Jared Prime. It looked great.
Yeah.
I had a couple little nitpicks.
Yeah, there was one thing where I saw the dragon that like has the mouth open and he's like falling in, and I was like, that dragon kind of looks dumb. But other than that, like the other dragon looked cool, just not that dragon.
Black dragon, yes. Red dragon, no.
Yeah, but I liked. I was like, okay, this is.
I liked how chubby the red dragon was. Like his chin was flopping around. You know, I thought it was some good animation. But it looks like a lot of fun. And one of the comments on the video that I made earlier said it looks like Guardians of the Galaxy reskinned, which is true. But Guardians of the Galaxy was good, and I would like to see that in a fantasy setting. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And Love the ending stinger on that.
Chris Pine looks good. Yeah. What was the ending stinger of?
Well, you've got the what do you? Well, so the mix of what do you bring to the party? Plans. I make plans and backup plans for the plans that fail. And like he also plays the lute, and he's like not relevant. And then you get to see him playing his lute, because I've always I've always felt like the concept of a bard character seems bizarre to me because it seems like
It's
that. Where
bizarre.
and he plays the lute. But I've also heard from a lot of my friends that are even much bigger D&D fans than I am, and like I play D&D with some friends, but they're always like, oh yeah, bards are really good like they're really strong characters to play. They've got really good mechanics and all sorts of stuff like that they're
What you need
characters
to
to play. They're very useful.
What you need to realize, Jared, is that D&D is ridiculous. Like
Right.
No, it's serious.
it's silly. It's role playing and it's fun.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I think that at least the trailer looks like it's got the balance down really well between
I agree.
lighthearted and adventure, and it's not going to be Thor: Love and Thunder ridiculous, but it's gonna be fun, but it's also going to be adventure, and it looks like a really good balance.
No, I agree. Yeah, it does look good so far.
I also read an article that about the screenwriters and how they went to Wizards of the Coast and integrated a lot of the monsters and the locations and everything to make it, as
there were a lot of
lore as
there
possible.
were a lot of Easter eggs. You could have freaking Displacer Beast in the trailer, which has never been seen on screen. Like, awesome. That's one of my favorite monsters ever. And so that got me fanboying out, and I mean, there was also they were jumping into a gelatinous cube to escape the Displacer Beast, which is a horrible plan. But
I thought it was pretty creative.
It's akin to ninjas can't catch you if you're on fire.
It's not the kind of thing that you want to jump into.
Yes, but
No, but a Displacer Beast or a gelatinous cube.
You gotta take your pick.
I'd rather take the Jello.
Did anybody else ever read the Dr. McNinja comics?
No,
They were goofy and funny, and they were just these online comics a while back. But one of the things was ninjas can't catch you if you're on fire. And I mean, yeah, they can't get you if you're on fire. You're on fire, but
out of the frying pan into the gelatinous cube.
that's a good comment.
Yeah, no, it looks like fun. There was also the House of the Dragon trailer that they dropped on Comic-Con, which looks like more Game of Thrones, which whether that's a good thing or a bad thing to you, I think is up to your discretion. I think it's going to be Game of Thrones again.
If only George would actually finish his book.
I don't really have anything to say about it. Corwin said he had lots to say about it, but he's not coming back on the show. Apparently, he has to be. Speak now or forever hold your peace, Corwin.
I heard that Corwin said that Game of Thrones reboot show is going to be the best thing since sliced bread.
I believe he said
that.
Yeah.
Put it up on the wall.
You can quote that. 2022 on Best Gen, Corwin said. House of the Dragon.
He's not even here. I love it.
House of the Dragon is better than Lord of the Rings, the Peter Jackson films. I believe.
Yeah, it's like better than Rings of Power. Yeah, it probably will be.
Yeah, I don't really know anything about the story to comment on it, but it looks like more Game of Thrones. So if you liked that, then good, and if you didn't, then don't watch it. But then we got trailer drops for the MCU and the DCU. The DCU dropped trailers for Black Adam and Shazam 2, which I thought were the same movie. Because Black Adam is one of the Shazams, right? Because
he's a previous iteration of Shazam.
Well, because there was a missing seat, right? At the end of the Shazam movie, there was a missing seat, and they're like, "Who's that seat for?" Obviously teasing Black Adam. So Black Adam comes out first, and then Shazam 2 comes out first. And I thought it was interesting that Black Adam didn't appear in the Shazam trailer, which I think he's going to be in the movie.
Maybe.
But they just don't want to spoil the ending of Black. They don't want you to know if he's going to be alive or dead at the end of it, because it looks like a prequel, kind of like it doesn't take place in our time period. It took place
that fits with what at least I'm aware of with the Black Adam mythology of, and they what they addressed of it in Shazam was before Shazam, before whatever the kid's name is, got the power. He trusted his power to one other person before, and it went badly. And that person that he trusted it to is Black Adam. That was because
Black Adam is an anti-hero. He's not quite a hero. He's definitely not a hero, but he's not quite a villain either. Right?
It's kind of like the Punisher.
Okay,
but with Superman powers.
Which is why from that first trailer, heroes don't kill people, well I do kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
With Hawkman, looked like.
Yeah, interesting. The trailer looked interesting. The trailer for Shazam 2 looked like just more of, which it was fine.
I like Shazam. I really have.
It was a fun movie. It wasn't groundbreaking, but it was fine. And I think it's even though they also are completely rudderless and lack direction and haven't decided where they're going, they still haven't decided if they're going to bring back the Snyderverse or not. Which is still a very real possibility with Warner Brothers being sold to Discovery. Of all places.
Everything I've heard, though, the guy that actually runs Discovery has done a really good job with the things that he has. Yeah. He's treated it more like when...
It's still weird that
He's
Warner Brothers had to be sold to Discovery because they completely mismanaged themselves.
If I remember correctly, I thought that I'd heard it originally. It was not necessarily they were being sold, but that AT&T was separating. They were selling them from themselves, or they were separating from themselves, and Discovery and them were merging together. But basically, Discovery was they were taking all of the in charge. They got into the...
They got sold. They were mismanaged, and now they are.
Well, AT&T realized that they're not good at taking care of a whole movie studio.
So I will say, even though they are still completely rudderless and don't have a clear direction for where they're going in the future, I am infinitesimal. What's the right word? I am exponentially more interested in what DCU is doing than what Marvel is doing right now. Because all Marvel did, they released the trailer for Black Panther, and then they released the full trailer for She-Hulk, which looked disastrous. But I fully admit it's probably not a show that's made for me as the target demographic. And I think the CGI for that looked terrible, but I was willing to write it off until they teased Daredevil at the end of it.
Oh, did they?
And now and it completely turned me off. And
it makes sense, though. I mean, they're both warriors. They work in the MCU,
sense,
so yeah.
But I already know what they did to Kingpin in Hawkeye, and I am not okay with that.
Yeah.
And Daredevil is some of the best television ever created.
Yeah.
I believe they confirmed also that they're actually making a new Daredevil show on...
They did announce that.
Yeah. They didn't say if it... I don't think, to my knowledge, they didn't say if it was going to be a continuation of the Netflix one.
They have not said that. They said they're doing a Daredevil show. They don't know if we don't know if it's a reboot or a retread or a continuation. They also said that Daredevil is going to appear in the Echo show, which is so interesting.
So I didn't see the She-Hulk full trailer. I did not like the first one. The humor and the overt sexuality was not my cup of tea, and the CGI, like you said, was laughable.
It's worse.
I heard they released a slightly improved version, like they replaced it with a slightly improved version. A lot of times they'll release trailers, and I don't know why they do, but
I saw it yesterday though, and it looked bad.
Yeah. But the Wakanda Forever one, I mean, it was kind of, it didn't show a whole lot, but I mean, it looked like it could be fun.
Yeah, Daredevil Born Again is the show title that they've got going on.
So sounds like a completely new thing.
Actually, the Born Again, if I remember correctly, I thought I'd heard that
it's Daredevil, but he's just a Christian.
I would not be surprised.
He's a bard again.
Well,
he runs around the Bible Belt, just trying to save people. Do you accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior?
I thought that when they finished season 3 and when they were still planning on doing a season 4 at Netflix, they were suggesting, or there were teases or ideas that they were going to be following a particular storyline in the comics that I thought was called Born Again for season 4 was what their intention had been. And then, of course, obviously everything got messed up when they figured out Disney Plus. So maybe it sounds like maybe they'll be sticking to what they had planned on doing for season 4, whether or not that is a soft reboot, kind of it almost makes me think about the Orville. You know how the Orville had seasons 1 and 2, and then season 3 is the Orville, whatever it is.
It's 100% a continuation.
It's a continuation, but it's almost as if it's its own separate show because it has
It's
a new
not.
subtitle. It has a different tone to it, even though the storyline continues. I wonder if they're going to do the same thing with Daredevil.
No, the Orville is a direct continuation. Like
No, I know, but you guys
it's
have.
the same tone as season 3.
I honestly don't know why they changed the.
It's
title.
just because it's technically a different property.
Right, and so that's what I'm saying about Daredevil is I think that they're going to do the same thing with Daredevil, where it's like it's technically a different property because it's now under Disney and it's got a subtitle now instead of just being Daredevil. But I think it's going to be a continuation of the same story. I don't think they'll do that. That makes me think that just because of the way that they're framing it, Daredevil Born Again. It seems like if I remember correctly, that's the same. That's a similar storyline to what they were planning on for season 4. So I don't know. We'll see.
What would be completely hilarious in a curveball is if they bring back the Daredevil from X-Men Wolverine Origins, whichever one he popped up in. It was absolutely terrible.
One of those? I remember they had the Daredevil movie with
David.
with
You
Matt,
sound so dumb right now because that was Deadpool.
Yeah, that was Deadpool that they had.
Yeah. I thought we were talking about Deadpool this whole time.
It would be hilarious if they do a Ben Affleck Daredevil.
That's where I thought he was going with that one.
Oh no.
I thought we were talking about Deadpool this whole time because I saw
David.
No, I have to admit when I saw the name of the actor that was doing that one, I was like, oh, thank goodness it's not Ben Affleck. Like,
I never saw that old one. I want to watch it just so I can see what it is to know to laugh at.
I enjoyed it as a child because it's very childish.
Yeah.
It's silly. It's ridiculous.
I totally thought we were talking about Deadpool. I saw a thumbnail for another Deadpool thing coming up. And I thought that's
red and black,
yeah,
running around killing
same
people.
color. They both say dead in the name.
Yeah,
or
they don't even say dead. Yeah, because you got Deadpool and then oh shoot, what's the DC one?
Deadshot.
There's Deadshot.
You're talking about.
I'm actually thinking of the
the one that is in the Arrow.
Yeah.
The yellow guy,
one, but it's
yellow half face dude. Yeah. What's his name?
Deadface. So, yeah,
it's like Deadshot or something. I don't remember.
Yeah, Deadshot's another one. I think.
Dead Puddle. What do you guys think of Wakanda Forever, though?
Deathstroke.
Deathstroke
is his name.
There we go. Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
I was all right with it.
What'd you say?
It really didn't say anything. It was just a bunch of like, hey, remember T'Challa, and they explicitly avoided showing you any of the Black Panther until you saw his hand at the very end.
Yeah.
So that you don't is it going to be a guy or a girl? We don't know. I'm pretty sure they said that it's going to be his little sister, right?
It looks like they're trying to at least go with there's a struggle around her trying to figure things out, but it didn't look like her in any way, shape, or form in that shot.
I still think they should have just recast him. They should have just pretended it's the same person.
I mean, they're going to have to do something in the film to explain his death. So
it looks like they will lean into the fact that he has died.
Yeah, my guess is they're going to have an opening sequence with the Black Panther, but you can't see it because it's Black Panther. They might reuse some old audio from from the previous films, maybe some uncut stuff to try and piece something together, and then he dies, and you probably see his face there after the Black Panther suit comes off. Or something,
what they really should do. What they really should do, of course, they would need to put a trigger warning, but they could have him actually suffering from cancer like he really did. No, but honestly, I think that would actually be if they decided they're going to actually since they decided not to recast him, they decided they're going to have him die, and they did that because they wanted to honor Chadwick Boseman and his legacy and all that. Honestly, I think it'd be great for them to have him die in a similar way to the way Chadwick did, so that.
Yeah, I think cancer is fine. I think, or I don't know. Yeah, I think killing him off in battle.
I think cancer is fine. Alan Bentley, 2022.
Cancer is great. No,
100% would recommend.
I think the best way to honor Chadwick Boseman would, if you're going to kill off the character, would be to have his character die of actual real cancer. but
Yeah.
I don't think that that's the actual best choice. I think it would have been a lot better to just recast. It wouldn't be the first time they've recast a role in the MCU, and they look. Everyone
Even a
would have
main character,
understood.
if you've got
Like
Ed
no
Norton.
one would have complained. And we're like, "What are you going to do? He's dead." Like
the reality is you couldn't
no one would
please
have complained.
everyone. Yeah, I think there are people that would have complained because you won't be able to please everybody. I do agree that would have been fine. I think they could have done that.
But also,
they're doing this and whatever.
Also, all black people look the same, so no one would have known.
Okay. Here's an alternate suggestion, rather than just assuming that everyone looks the same. is why don't they just CGI him doing it?
Yeah, they could just could just do a deep fake, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
If they go with David's option, I think that they very well might do at least a little bit of at least a scene of deep faked face.
Here's the problem: how do you know Namor looks stupid? They only showed his back.
No, they showed his silhouette because he turned around.
They showed him walking out of the water, and that was it.
Namor is also kind of
floating
a
in the water, and he
stupid
turned
character.
around towards the.
He looked okay. Yeah, he looks pretty dumb in the comics too.
Yeah. I am surprised. I would have really liked the idea of them leaning into the idea of these Atlanteans being, Polynesian or some sort of, Pacific Islander or something like that.
Interesting.
But instead, they're going with an Neytiri look, an Avatar look, I guess. But yeah.
Yeah, the close-ups that you got of the two other Atlanteans looked kind of silly. But they're like blue people. I don't know.
I think it'll be interesting because that'll come out just a there's promotional art of Namor. That's why.
Got it.
The fact that they're releasing this in November and then Avatar 2 with the water versions of the blue people, will lead to more parallels than I think they were probably going for.
What's also interesting is Black Panther is the last movie in Phase 4. What they just announced in Comic-Con is all going to be Phase 5 and 6.
Yeah.
And we're not going to get an Avengers movie until Phase 6.
Oh, really?
I thought there weren't going to be any more Avengers movies.
There's going to be two more. There's going to be Secret Wars, and the first one is going to be the Age of Kang.
Kang. Kang. The Kang Dynasty. There we go.
The Kang Dynasty, and then it's going to be a 2-part, and then the second part is going to be the Secret Wars.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I'm surprised that they're not doing anything because they really seem to be doing a lot of setup for Young Avengers. Because I could see them not doing Avengers anymore because they did say something along the lines of the Avengers that they're not doing more Avengers or something like that. I don't know, but I think that
it just
around that by
it just seems completely directionless. Like they've in the past they've all built up to something, and the build up for Phase 4 is Wakanda Forever. I don't see how that connects to anything.
Yeah,
that's been the issue for Phase 4 across the board.
Phase 4 across the board has felt like a bunch of little odd pieces that have been somewhat enjoyable on their own, but then they don't really seem to tie together. I mean, I guess these, Phase 1, the Thor, or I guess Iron Man and then Thor and Captain America, they didn't tie together great. They weren't, but you came pretty quickly.
The post-credit scenes that tied them together, yeah,
and you came pretty quickly to the Avengers about 4 years later, and you can't pretend like we're in the same position as Phase 1 because even though we've reset a little bit after Endgame, we're still part of this ongoing universe, and it feels kind of odd to just be so. And it's not just that they're sort of disconnected and we don't have an idea of what they're going for, but that the things that they're setting up and putting out there don't seem to be meshing very well with their different presentations of multiverse versus alternate timelines versus dimensions versus whatever else. You're like, I feel like there might be a distinction between all these things, but they all seem kind of the same to me, and they contradict if they're the same thing.
Just rudderless, directionless. It just.
I still have trust.
Hollow too.
Eventually, it'll come together in a way that makes sense because there were a lot of people that hated like Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron is the second best Avengers movie.
But that's the thing is that especially once you go back to it, once you've gotten into the rest of Phase 3 and into the rest of the Infinity Saga, Age of Ultron makes a lot more sense and it works a lot better. But at the time, it was kind of like, what's this thing that Thor's doing? What's this thing that everybody else is
I don't know.
seeing? Huh?
I
So-
never understood that criticism. I saw it in theaters and absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
And then I was legitimately confused when people were complaining about it. I was like, wait, did we
Same.
watch the same movie? How did anyone dislike that?
It may be partially because I love the.
I
concept
don't
of the rogue
I
AI.
don't disagree. I know a lot of people didn't like it, and it confused me.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't go with it as being the worst MCU movie, and I've
Yeah.
gained a greater appreciation for it since the Infinity
don't know
Saga
why.
is getting close to an end. But it's
That movie is poetic and beautiful.
it has a lot of good things going for it. It's
The
got
only thing I
strongest
wish
points.
is that Ultron was
Lasted longer?
maybe a bigger threat. Yeah,
Mhm.
because it wasn't really an age; it was a
A day,
couple days.
the day of Ultron.
Yeah,
The couple days of Ultron, yeah. That's
Yeah.
a fair criticism. So I've got a whole new slew of things based on the Rings of Power. But I think I'll save a lot of these articles for next week when Corwin can rant about it. But
we
there
can
are
save all of it if you want.
there are a few I want to hit on
The rough weekend of Ultron.
right now. You guys saw the trailer, right, for Rings of Power?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite memes.
Oh, the S is so good. Oh my gosh.
That's good.
That's
It
funny.
looked so bad, right? Am I alone in thinking the trailer looked stupid?
Yeah.
I don't have enough attachment to it or opinions to be like, oh no, I thought it looked great. I thought it looked fine. I don't have anything against it.
Everyone's
whatever
calling
at this
him.
point.
Everyone's calling him Eminem on Twitter and like. It's so funny.
Yes.
But the most. This is. No, this one. Costume comparisons. This is the most egregious.
Yeah.
This one, honestly,
That one's not bad.
this one is not bad.
Yeah. Like,
The difference is you can tell that he's worn these clothes, and
Yeah.
this one hasn't. Where
And
if this is a
the
guy who's
other-
never left his castle, that's fine.
The other thing too is you can tell that his embellishments in Aodin over there, they're actually embroidered on there, and that just looks like it's a print.
Yeah, you can see these are.
But-
Some of these are like.
Well,
glued
that's
on.
embroidered, but the actual
this is a
that
print.
right there, that
You can
that looks
tell.
like it's a print. That doesn't
Mhm.
stand out as being
Um,
authentic.
This is one of the worst ones, though. It looks absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it looks like
like-
it is from a Spirit Halloween store.
It's just night and day, the quality. And this,
that one's hilarious.
have you
Yeah.
seen this?
That it's a printed scale mail.
It is a printed like latex shirt under it. First off,
It's so bad.
a scale mail breastplate is like an oxymoron, right? If you're going to, so scale mail is similar to chain mail in that it moves around. Okay,
Mhm.
a breastplate is rigid. Okay, this is literally they've taken a breastplate and
And put
glued
scales on top of
scales onto the breastplate,
Hmm.
which triples its weight,
Yeah.
which is completely impractical. You either have a breastplate or you have scale mail. Second off, it's boob armor, which is nonsense. And second off, what is this?
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not on her,
And
just her either. The guards.
Fourth off,
have it
you
too.
didn't need this. You could have just had a shirt underneath.
Or chainmail, like he has.
Yeah.
The chainmail and scale mail. I mean, that would totally clash. I mean, that's you can't do
But
that.
this
Like stripes
is-
and polka dots.
Exactly. That's medieval stripes and polka dots.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
This is what $1 billion gets you.
Yeah.
Which is funny. The inflation hits us all in different ways. Today, $1 billion will only get you the costume wardrobe from a local high school Othello performance. Sad.
Ouch. That's a sick burn.
Okay.
That Sauron though with the middle school S thing.
So
It's
freaking
so
good.
good. Oh my god.
So good.
That's so good.
Now, I'm almost positive that this is not actually Sauron. They're trying to
I was
pull
gonna say, I
a bait
don't
and
know if
switch.
it
bait and switch on you.
I just want to get that out there before people say that's not going to actually be Sauron in the film.
Whether or not it's Sauron is irrelevant.
He
because
still
they
looks
want
retarded.
They want you to think that it's Sauron, whether it's Sauron or not.
Yes.
And he looks stupid either way.
Oh,
Yeah.
I will have to check out your Twitter page. I've been off Twitter for a couple days.
Yeah.
I'm terrified that Amazon got the rights to the show. I don't have a lot of hope for the show, but I want more Lord of the Rings in my life. Yeah,
That's a good way to say it. Yeah.
it's depressing.
If you want more Lord of the Rings, go play the Shadow of Mordor video game.
Which completely breaks lore, but it's fun.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Well,
It's lore shattering.
The first one doesn't break lore so much. The Shadow of War sequel kind of breaks lore a lot.
Yeah, Shelob lady and.
But it's fun, okay?
Yeah, no, it's fun. It's great. It still has the atmosphere of Lord of the Rings, even though it doesn't make sense. But it's fine. Yeah, hilarious. Okay, I think I want to save. I want to save the rest of these. So, we'll do we've been going for 2.5 hours, and Jared Prime gets sleepy. So,
Yeah, man, I'm getting old.
We'll
over
save
here in California where it's not an hour later.
We will
the one
save.
advantage for being in California.
I'll save the bulk of these articles for when we get a very spicy, dedicated discussion next week.
Jared Prime, aren't you in Arizona? So you're on California time right now. So no excuses.
It's only 8:30.
No excuses.
I got work in the morning.
So do I, Jared.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you count the least with regards to having work in the morning.
I have to wake up. I have to wake up at the butt crack of dawn and check YouTube to see if there are any new trailers from Comic-Con. Okay.
Yeah. The struggle is real.
I'll be there with you. Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
I think I have decided that I'm going to go to Dragonsteel this year, which is Brandon Fraser's Comic-Con thing.
It's funny that you hated the core humor so much because he made that same joke like 3 times in Thor: Love and Thunder. Jane Foster, Jodie.
No, I didn't like that joke.
Yeah, no, but you made that exact same joke. Brandon Fraser's.
Yeah, it's because it's not in a movie, so it doesn't break. It doesn't completely shatter the immersion and suspension of disbelief. I can make dumb jokes on a live stream where we talk about nerdy things.
Unacceptable. I mean, this is your own show. Like, come on, you can't make those decisions.
Hey, it's Jason Lyons. You're welcome to come on the show if you want, Jason. You don't have to just watch if you want to talk about nerdy things. So, we'll get into more of these. I'm already starring them so I can, because some of these were hard to find. They keep changing the titles of the articles on Google because they were so horribly written the first time that they tried to save face a little bit. But
Jason, Arcane is really, really good.
But Pepperidge Farm remembers. Yeah, you finished Arcane. Good. It's
good stuff.
Fantastic. See, I'm not always a pessimist. There are things that I like. I liked Arcane. I liked Stranger Things season 4. It wasn't as good as season 1, but I liked it. So good, right? I liked Top Gun. So you can't call me a pessimist because I only call out crap when it's crappy. So
good stuff.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll call it a night, and just believe me when I've got some spicy Rings of Power news or things to discuss. So
sounds good.
Here's your little teaser. Did Screen Rant call Tolkien fans stupid?
Probably.
Would not be surprised.
If you've been watching the show at all, you know where to put your money. So we'll see you guys next week unless you guys have anything else to
That
say.
bet.
Unless you want to air some grievances. We'll call it a night.
I think we've had a good night. I've been sitting on a grievance, but
That's typically the best thing to do.
yeah.
You want to let those things fester.
Fester. Yep. Mhm.
And
Did you guys see the trailer for the Monsters movie?
Oh my gosh, that looks so bad.
the Munsters?
Yeah.
What is that?
Rob Zombie
Rob
doing
Zombie.
the Monsters.
Yeah,
I
he's
don't know
doing
what
a reboot.
is. I don't know what the Munsters is though. What is it?
It's like
It's
a different version of the Addams Family, kind of like you've
Yeah.
got
Oh, okay.
Frankenstein and his family, basically. But I think it was even more goofy comedy. I know about it, but I don't know if I've seen much of it at all. And the trailer was
Yeah.
confusing. I'm like, what?
Let it fester like your uncle.
That's where I was going. That's one of my
Addams
connection, but still wrong
Yeah.
one.
Adam's Family is so good. But yeah, Munsters was a lot like Adam's Family, a cheap knockoff, but it was a lot of fun. You know, some of it was really ridiculous and silly, but yeah, the new one looks so bad. Like
It felt like
so
it was
terribly bad.
just the weirdest cut together. I don't know. It was bizarre.
Yeah, just go look up some clips of the original Munster show and the voice for the Frankenstein character. It's a great fit, and then you watch the new one and it's like, what were they thinking? He's like talking in this high pitched voice, and it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
Cool.
Sorry, we had a good end to your
Looking
show.
forward.
And we just
Looking
derailed it.
forward to more cringe.
You're welcome. That's what I do.
Jacob Ironside says that the John Wick 4 trailer is also out, and I did watch that. I just don't think there's anything interesting to say about it. If you like John Wick, it's more John Wick. If you didn't like it, it's still John Wick. But it's good stuff. Go watch.
It does kind of confuse me though, because I thought they were saying that John Wick was going to be the trilogy and that's it, but apparently
No,
not.
the third one ended with a cliffhanger kind of thing. It was pretty clear they're going to make more.
I hadn't seen it yet.
Yeah,
I own it. I haven't watched it.
I think they might have said that John Wick 4 is going to end his story, and
Gotcha.
which is why they're starting the spinoffs.
The
now.
spin-offs, yeah.
One
Spin-offs make
last
sense.
final plug
I
for
understand.
the fan cuts of the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. I heard it's much better. I think the little bit that I've seen, it suffers a little bit like the anti-cheese edits do from the prequels. Kind of, you can tell it's just they had to cut things out that just
Right.
they didn't like or whatever. But it sounds like it fixed a lot of things that.
Well,
Kenobi
you,
could've done.
you have to work
My-
with what you get. You know.
My problem with
Figure it
that
out.
is that I didn't enjoy any of the TV shows, so I don't think I would enjoy an edit either.
You might.
No,
Yeah.
there were parts of it that I liked, but
Yeah.
you're the pessimist among us.
So Alan,
there
ignore
are
me.
things that I
David,
liked. I
go
just
check it out.
listed things that I liked.
Okay, so if there are things that you liked, then maybe you like the edit that cuts out the crap you didn't.
But there wasn't anything from the original that I did like. So what if you edit? I don't see how an edit could save anything.
No.
Okay.
But feel free to plug it. I'm just saying. I personally, I don't know if there's anything left I could
Yeah.
enjoy.
Jacob, did you post it on your YouTube channel that you put that fan cut up? Because I checked that one out as well. The big one, the one that I posted a link to, and I can even post it in the comments. I've heard really good things about that one, and I've started it out, and it's pretty good. So.
Yeah. I don't think you can put comments in or links to other YouTube videos in a live YouTube chat, but I think you can put it as a comment after the stream is over.
It's actually not on YouTube. I think he ended up having to take it down for context sorts of issues, which makes sense. But he's got it up on his own website, and I think he's been able to find out some ways to keep it up pretty well. So yeah, I need to go finish it.
All right.
Cool beans.
Well, it's been a blast, and we'll see you next week where we completely blast the Rings of Power. We'll be finally be talking about the finale of Raised by Wolves, even though it aired months ago. And is there anything else to talk about next week? I think it's just that, but there will be plenty to talk about. Because Rings of Power airs September 2nd. And yeah, All right.
Cool.
We'll see you next week.
All right.
Bye everybody.
See ya.
Bye.